Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's the reigning Fortnite champion. She's a Call of Duty legend. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Ever have emergency surgery before the biggest game of the year? That's what's happening with Mike McCarthy. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Morning show on CBS Sports Radio. Now, it's an appendectomy, which, you know, they always say it's minor surgery when someone else is having it. But we have a little experience with appendectomies. I've been around this a little bit. You can recover very fast. However, this is a massive week for the Dallas Cowboys, Perloff, playing your Philadelphia Eagles, who are now back to full strength, apparently. This is not nothing here for Dallas.
You mean it's a positive or a negative that Mike McCarthy may or may not be there?
Oh,
Clear. Come
no.
on. Yeah, if Dan Quinn had an appendicitis, then I'd be worried. But Mike McCarthy, come on.
Oh,
all of a sudden, this guy's a great coach just because they're good this year. Dak has been in the league for 12 years or whatever. He's been in there forever. They have the greatest assistant coach, Dan Quinn, should be a head coach somewhere. They're fine. They do not need Mike McCarthy on the sideline against the Eagles on Sunday.
Okay, well, here's what I would say. That the last time that the Dallas Cowboys faced the big opponent, right, the big showdown, it was the San Francisco 49ers, and they got shellacked.
Yeah.
And even though the final score was, 42-10, it was actually the offense that let them down way more than the defense in that game. I know it's going to sound crazy, but the offense at times was holding their own against San Francisco. The defense, rather, the offense couldn't do anything, and that's what led to the blowout and the avalanche. Now you have a second shot. Because the Dallas Cowboys have the number one defense in the NFL, but they've been playing like patsies, if you will, the last couple weeks. This is a massive statement game for the Dallas Cowboys, not to mention the implications of the division being on the line. And you have an opportunity here to create a narrative that you can win a good game, to maybe give a little confidence in that locker room you can win a good game. Because I'll tell you what, they get blown out by the Eagles. All the good vibes that have been collecting over the last 5 weeks and this winning streak and these wins is going to be poof out the window.
There is no way they're getting blown out by the Eagles. Have you watched the Eagles?
Oh, the Eagles' defense is not good, but yeah.
Yes, the Eagles are making every game incredibly close and then having Jalen Hurts save their bacon at the end. This is not... I don't even think they need Mike McCarthy anywhere near the building. They own the Eagles' defense. They put up 500 yards in the last game in the Link, in a game that the Eagles had most of their players. This is in Dallas, where the Cowboys have been playing much better. They used to not have a good home field advantage the last 8 years or so. Mm-hmm. This year they have it. They have every advantage here, with or without Mike McCarthy. And the fact that Dak Prescott is so experienced, do you really think he needs Mike McCarthy there?
I think there's something about athletes in routine. I think there's something about the fact that this unit has been rolling. I think that anytime you disrupt that, especially from not just the head coach, but the guy who's calling plays, yeah, I do think so.
God.
Listen, the defense is going to be fine. We know Dan Quinn can more than handle his own. But on the offensive side, I mean, talk to some people around the league about Brian Schottenheimer. Talk to people in New York. Talk to people in Seattle. This is not like you're calling in here someone who, yes, he has a ton of experience, but he's not like beloved as an offensive mind.
Yeah, but I mean, first of all, McCarthy probably will be there and calling plays. It doesn't, all this routine, this Cowboys offense, I assume, is a well-oiled machine at this point. But listen, they've discovered the key to the world is just Dak, drop back and throw to CeeDee Lamb. That's all they do. So that's going to be fine. I think also they've been circling this game forever. There's just so much energy around the Cowboys, where the Eagles have gone through this gauntlet. I just can't imagine. When I think of coaches being there or not being there, it's also a matter of energy. Like, you need your head coach there. You might lose a little confidence. I don't see that happening with this Dallas team at all, because they have a quarterback who's playing at the highest level in Dak Prescott,
right,
and they have a defense that's led by Micah Parsons, who seems like the most confident player in the league. I just don't think they're going to miss a beat here with Mike McCarthy, who is not exact. Maybe I'm not in the building, but he's not exactly this big rah-rah coach who's like, go out and get him. Does he even give a pregame speech? I have no idea.
Well, if he's not rah-rah and he's not great with the execution at the end of games, what kind of coach is this guy? I mean,
he's a smart offensive game plan guy. But don't you think their game plans are kind of set at week 14? Week 13? What are we, week 13 or 14?
Yes, I think you're right that it's later in the season, so maybe, but I could say that's the flip side. You're later into the season, you are more into your routines, you are more into, this is how things are going to work throughout the week, and then a major shift, a major wrench gets thrown into all of that. And here's the thing, you look at this through the lens of the Eagles, which I totally understand because it's a big game for you and because you're a fan of the team. Totally get it. Yep. But like the Eagles here have a different thought process, I think, than the Dallas Cowboys do. Because the Eagles have come in, well, listen, they got their butts kicked by San Francisco also, but they have won some big games against really good teams, whereas the Cowboys have yet to do that. So for the people who say empty stats, the record doesn't reflect who they are, I think there's so much more pressure on Dallas to win this. And despite the fact that we can just talk about the standings, there's more pressure because they already lost to the Eagles once.
Honestly, I think that's short-sighted because I think Dallas cannot hype themselves up over regular season success anymore. Those days are done. Mm-hmm. And the reality of the situation, the Cowboys and the Eagles, they both got killed by San Francisco. So they're going to lose a tiebreaker for the number one seed. Now, when you look at what is realistically going to happen here, both are playoff teams. We know that. You might want to be the 4 seed, so you play the winner of the NFC South 4-5 and get that matchup out. At least you're going to win a playoff game, or they're going to face each other it's a 2 and 3. It really does not matter that much what happens here because Dallas is a team that's good enough that it's Super Bowl or bust at this point. I don't care what they do in the regular season. There's nothing they can do to impress me. They have to win in the playoffs, Maggie.
Okay.
They have to win, and they have to win at the highest level.
I get that, but you say like, all right, they can afford to lose this game, and maybe you get the 4 seed whatever, 5th seed whatever. Have you seen their schedule? It's your Philadelphia Eagles, then it's at Buffalo, at Miami, Detroit, and then you finish with Washington. Okay, that's maybe a walkover. But Buffalo, Miami, Detroit, you're getting a game in all 3 of those, not to mention what's going to happen Sunday night.
That is another reality that if they win this game or lose this game, they're not going to jump San Francisco. So it's going to be really hard for Dallas. I think everyone is making this game out to be a little more than it is. I kind of sound like Jim Harbaugh saying Michigan, Ohio State's not that big a deal. But the reality
that's news to me. I feel like this is a very big game.
It is, but everyone's saying, to win the NFCs, who cares? Both of these teams have the same exact problem. It's called the San Francisco 49ers. They're looming in the playoffs. So honestly, play it out. Dallas wins this game. What does that mean? Everyone's going to say, ooh, look at Dallas. Dak's the MVP. They're a Super Bowl contender. Are they really? Or is it that wait till the playoffs? Show me in the playoffs, Dallas. Show me Dak. Show me Mike McCarthy, because I have not seen it.
Okay, but I'd rather play my first playoff game at home. You just mentioned that the Cowboys have had now this really great home field advantage. It's turned into a home field advantage. I'd rather have that than, having to start on the road somewhere if I end up falling out to the wild card.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have the 4-5 and just like last year, trounce Tampa Bay or whoever it is.
It's possible, but I'd rather have the home field. And
also this excuse making. If anybody says that Mike McCarthy not being there is an excuse if the Eagles lose, I will immediately reject
Cowboys
that.
Lose, you mean?
Yeah, if the Cowboys lose, I do not want to hear. Listen, I'm the master of excuses. I don't want to hear Dallas excuses.
We know.
This game is in Dallas. The Eagles are limping. The Eagles have played a million tough games in a row. Don't give me any excuses because Mike McCarthy has appendicitis. Come on, Maggie. You know that Mike McCarthy is not that impactful on the win-loss here.
Oh, man. I mean, got to disagree. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Love to hear from the Cowboy fans of how they feel. It's like you get this news, you're just like, everyone knows that feeling. You're got a big game coming up. This is a chance at, redeeming yourself, if you will, for the Cowboys because they lost that game in San Francisco. The next big game they played was the Philadelphia Eagles, where they lost with the football in Dak's hand, by the way, in the red zone. So you're not feeling awesome about that, despite the gaudy numbers he may have put up that day. And then it's been the Giants, Carolina, Washington, Seattle. Those are not true tests of where the Cowboys are. Philadelphia, now that's a true test.
Yes, but it's a long season. It's a true test. Do not overrate, because last year they beat the Eagles late in the season. Gardner Minshew was the quarterback, and Cowboys had a lot of momentum going into that playoff. And what happened? They ran into San Francisco. So it does feel like the same
Dak
movie.
started throwing picks, too, and that piled on.
Yeah, I mean, he would throw picks because he hit his receiver in the chest and the ball would bobble up. I think they went into the playoffs with some momentum, and we were fooled again. Did you think they had a great chance in that San Francisco game? It was 19-13. I thought it's a very similar feel. Like, they look great now, but they're just a team, and I hate to do this. You have to show me in the playoffs.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. DT's in the chat says, if CeeDee Lamb plays the same way he did the last time, it will be bad.
Bad for the Eagles.
I think bad for the Eagles. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he killed them. Dak Prescott has 22 touchdowns and 8 picks and a 67% completion percentage in his career against the Eagles. I'm telling you, that's why I knew Dak could be the MVP, because he plays his best game every time against Philly. Something about our style of defense does not work against him. Let me ask you a side question. If Dak wins this game, is he really a strong front runner for MVP? Because it's a narrative award, and this is a good story.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big showcase, Sunday Night Football, lots of people watching. You know, if McCarthy is away from the team for a while and then Dak puts out a great game, sure, then it's like, oh, maybe he gets a little more credit, if you will. What's crazy is I think it's Purdy's to lose.
Really?
And you know how I feel about this. Brock Purdy's a phenomenal quarterback and great story, but he's not the MVP of the 49ers. Come on, guys. Let's get it together here. He's a distributor to amazing weapons behind an awesome line. Good for him. Great for him. He's going to be rich. He's going to be famous. He's going to have all those things. He's respected. All those things that you would only hope for when you're the Mr. Irrelevant. You could only dream that this will be your future, and he's going to have all that coming to him.
Yeah, but
he's not the MVP.
Here's the thing. Voters have very short memories. So they're going to see what they saw last. There's a Lamar versus Purdy game coming up in 2 weeks. And if somehow Lamar Jackson beats the San Francisco 49ers, boom, number one. You know, voters, whatever happened last, look at the Heisman race.
Yeah.
Like it was Penix. I mean, obviously Jaden Daniels is a heavy favorite, but whatever game, Penix jumped Bo Nix because of the last game. So I think Dak's going to be number one after this week because the Cowboys win. Then Purdy versus Lamar, whoever wins that game will jump him number one.
Do you think they could change the MVP where you have to vote in the first half of the season and that counts as like half your vote?
Yeah, no.
You know, it's like we have to somehow find a way to count the beginning of the year in the first half of the season in these MVPs. Maybe that's a conversation for another day. But I do think it's Purdy's to lose, which again is bananas to me. But I'm sure coming out of this game, if Dak wins, especially if it's a close game, it's a Dak can win a close game, big game.
Yeah, I mean, Dak's already a co-favorite for MVP. This is a huge audience. This is going to be probably the biggest audience of the year. And I think Dak's going to play really well because he's been doing everything perfectly. He's cleaned up the interceptions. He's shown that he's going to find a way to target CeeDee Lamb. And this tight end, Jake Ferguson, is going to kill the Eagles.
Yep.
It's looking bad. I mean, you watch the Eagles against the Bills and then the Niners. They're very vulnerable in their back seven. So this
Definitely.
is a
It's
great
just the middle
spot.
of the field.
Oh, it's
just kind of open.
Great spot for the Cowboys offense with or without Mike McCarthy.
855-212-4CBS. We see this differently. I think that having McCarthy gone, disrupting routines, I mean, this could be something. Perloff says no. We want to hear from you, but this is a big game also for Dak. Aren't they all? But really, this is not the Giants. This is not Carolina. They've had these massive spreads happening. You know, it's like they've been 10-point favorites, 12-point favorites, 15-point favorites. It's a little different.
Yeah, but you know the everyone's gonna say, okay, this is great. Show me in the playoffs.
Well,
I'm in the large majority of people who want to see Dak win in the postseason.
Well, I mean, that's the privilege that comes with being this good, is that people don't just expect you to win big regular season games, but also in the postseason. Boy, do we have a lot on the docket today. What's been crazy about this new show and doing stuff in the morning is I didn't realize the amount of news that breaks overnight. In my old life, I would just wake up and see it in the morning. It's like we go to bed and we wake up super early and somehow news happens. This is wild. So we've got news for you that happened overnight. Very, very significant. We'll get to that in just a moment. Also, want to bring your attention to something that we are starting today that's going to go through the end of the year. And we're really, really excited about this. Should I do this now or should I wait?
Why don't you wait? Why don't we come back and announce?
Okay. Got something really fun going on between now and the rest of 2023. What a year it's been. We will announce what that is next. It's fun. It's going to be cool. It's going to make you feel good. We'll do all that. Do not move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
All
4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stream the NFL on Westwood One for free. Sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. All right, Maggie, we're going to make a big show announcement. This is going to be fun. I think we've had a lot of success doing this in the past. Let's dive right into it.
Okay, so in the spirit of the holiday season, we were thinking about ways that we could, give back. And there's a lot of things that we can do, but we wanted to get the audience involved in it as well. So here's what's going on. You guys know we talk about our YouTube channel all the time, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We did this with the Carson Wentz when we destroyed the poster. This is a little bit different vibe. But for the holidays, here's what we're proposing and here's what we're doing. 1,000 new subscribers by the end of the year, and we will donate $1 for every new subscriber to the Boys and Girls Club, who we have developed a relationship with because of the Carson Wentz poster destroying thing. Do I have to explain the Carson Wentz poster to the new audience?
Well, yes. Let's just point out that Carson Wentz is doing a lot of good out there in the world just by existing there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, real quick, I had this Carson Wentz poster that I was very proud of until Carson Wentz fell off a cliff. And then I gave it to my parents and tried to stash it in Philadelphia. And they're like, get this out of my house. So I'm like, I can't put it in my apartment. It's too small. So I brought it into the studio and sort of sneakily put it back there. And it was just there for a year.
Yeah.
And then people caught on. Why is Carson Wentz in every shot?
Yeah, it was Carson Wentz. It's like a blown up cover of Sports Illustrated where he's in an Eagles jersey. It's like you were going to the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts. It made no sense to have this bad vibes Carson Wentz poster behind us. He was embattled. His career, football-wise, was kind of going down the toilet. So we asked people to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then we would destroy the Wentz poster live on the air. We did it. Yep. We did it. It was a massive success. And to balance our karma in the world, we donated to the Boys and Girls Club of every city where Carson Wentz played. So it wasn't just like, oh, look at us being negative on Carson Wentz. Like, we also gave back to those communities of Fargo, North Dakota, Indianapolis, Washington, Philadelphia. Yeah,
so it worked out great. I feel bad for the poster. I mean, I'm not. The funny thing is, people were not getting into my feelings about this. I'm obviously a Jalen Hurts fan now, not a Carson Wentz fan. But I don't think we don't need that negativity. Let's just do this as a holiday thing, Maggie. Let's keep it positive for once.
This is just like us saying, first of all, thank you. And also, here's the cool thing about it, where we will donate. Our boss, Mike Eskin, has pledged to also get in on this donation, which is really amazing from him and super generous. And here's what it is. We can all feel good about this. All you have to do is subscribe, and you've done something. You hit subscribe, the donation happens because of you. That's it. That's all you do. We donate $1 for every new subscriber. Let's get to 1,000 by the end of the year.
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And also, it's a lot of fun, our YouTube page.
Oh, boy, is it.
Yeah. There's some weird stuff on there. I'm not going to lie to you, but you can watch most of it with your children. Most of it.
Sure. Most of it.
89%.
If you're with a child, I might disable the chat.
Oh, that's
the Weedos and now the coffee drinkers.
No, yeah.
Their hearts are in the right place, but they got jokes.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, right.
There you go. So that's what's going on. We'll be telling you more about it, and we're excited. We're excited. We have a relationship with the Boys and Girls Club. It's really cool. Something we wanted to donate specifically earmarked for youth sports programs, which feels like a perfect fit.
Yeah, absolutely. You hear so many big time athletes who say, "Oh, I as a young teenager was playing and got to play basketball at a Boys and Girls Club or whatever." It's a great cause. Yeah, this could be fun. Now, one thing, if you go on the chat, it's December. It's the holiday season.
Yeah.
Can the Weedos be nicer to me, Maggie? I mean,
to you? Never.
I mean, specifically to me, like there's just a lot of little digs.
They kid because they love.
Okay. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way.
These are what this started as was all the people, the McLovin army. These are your people.
yeah. But then a few people in there, they tend to be a little biting with their criticism.
Yeah. Your people became my people.
Yeah, they liked you more. The chat is definitely pro Maggie.
Well, sometimes, and EJ already promised to be nicer. We weren't talking about you.
Well, it's funny.
You're a Weedo, though.
When we used to get there, in our first year of the show, we'd get all these calls. Normally, I totally disagree with you, Perloff, but this one time, I agree with you. Or, Maggie, I'm with you all the time, except this one time. I'm like, how many one times have you disagreed with Maggie? This cannot be mathematically accurate.
The math doesn't add up, but I'll take it. I'll take it. So there we go. That's the cool thing. You hit subscribe. We donate. That's all you got to do, and then we take care of the rest. So thank you so much, and we'll keep that going. We have other cool holiday things, by the way, that are planned. We're just not going to announce it today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to really focus on one bet we have upcoming. I'm really not feeling great about it.
Well, this is going to be our first show bet of 2024. That's going to get paid off in 2024. So
yes, so
this is like the whole year is going to the tone is going to be set off of this bet.
The reason I'm more mad than anyone about Florida State getting snubbed is because if Michigan loses their opening game in the college football playoff, I have to wear a singlet. If Michigan wins, if they beat Alabama, you and EJ have to wear a singlet.
Yeah.
Now, I just
did a spit take.
I just saw a thing that 90% of the money is coming in on the Alabama money line. I think it's a very small spread. Everyone thinks Alabama's going to win this game. Michigan is favored, so at least I have that, but it just doesn't feel momentum-wise like Michigan is going to win this game. I really don't want to wear a singlet. As a basketball player, I always judge the wrestlers in the winter season. I was like, why do I have to wear those idiotic uniforms? This is not going to go well.
Well, this is the bet. You got to have real stakes. I mean, you think EJ and I are like, this isn't a picnic for us either.
Right.
Well, I was thinking, can I volunteer to go tape an Alabama practice or something, pull Connor Stallions, put on a fake mustache? Does Harbaugh need a new Connor Stallions? Because I will do it.
Nick Saban will have you in a warehouse somewhere interrogating you with a bag over your head. Alabama practice trying to film something.
Have you ever been to like Colonial Williamsburg or any of those places where it's like old timey?
Yeah,
they have
like your arms are in the stock.
Yeah, they have these old torture things. That's what Saban's got ready for you if you go try to tape a practice. If you show up in any Central Michigan gear, I'll call Saban myself. You're not a Chippewas fan. I know that about you.
Yeah, it's funny. Why is no one giving Michigan a chance here? Michigan has not lost a game this season. They have an amazing offensive line, a great defense. They can run it down your throat, but still, it feels bad. It feels like I feel nervous. You guys are a little cocky. That's actually making me feel better, though.
Well, to be fair, I mean, Alabama's need a couple prayers just to get into this thing, including maybe the biggest snub of all time to even get into this Final Four. But, I mean, you're going to bet against Jalen Miller?
Oh, I feel so good. If Florida State had been the number 4 seed, I would be strutting around this studio like I am the man. You guys would have to be on Amazon right now looking at singlets. That's why I was so mad on Sunday at noon, what they said. And the number 5 team or the Florida State Seminoles, it's a gut punch.
I'm starting to think that perhaps the CFP committee, maybe they're fans of Maggie and Perloff.
Could be.
Maybe they're weirdos.
Yeah, and they said, you know what? Like, we give Michigan, Florida State, Maggie and EJ after those singlets will be kind of, whatever, not enough pizzazz, not enough spice going into the bet. Let's make things interesting. Let's give Nick Saban to Jim Harbaugh, and let's see what really happens here, and let's really drum this up. And thank you to the College Football Committee, because, again, as you said, if it was Florida State, I would be looking up probably the most appealing singlet I could find because it's going to happen.
I'd be doing crunches. Squats. There's nothing left of the imagination with these things, because that's part of the issue. Andrew Bogusch is here and disgusted, by the way.
I'm just confused. First of all, you guys need a second show or a podcast just to track the bets.
We have a Google Doc
because there's so many of them. They're hard to follow, and I don't know what the more preferable outcome of this one in particular is. I don't know who I want to see less in a singlet.
Perloff or EJ. We all lose.
I mean, I don't think there are any winners.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, Maggie, I hate to say it, you kind of you go to the gym and you probably wear something that looks like a singlet.
No, I go to the gym and I look homeless. We unhoused. I think it's
I don't know. I saw you apologizing to Bradley Cooper not in homeless clothing on a treadmill.
That's my home.
Oh, okay.
It was not an apology, by the way. It was more like, this guy still sucks.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not apologizing. Let me get my workout in.
Yeah, just not to get too anatomical, but I think a singlet is much more revealing for men, especially the lower halves. I mean, I think this is a problem. I think EJ and I are more nervous than you.
Well, I mean, we're all nervous for all reasons. You know, everyone's got their own insecurities.
Very cold in this room.
Can they Yeah, it is actually.
That's not good for me.
Can Andrew Kaplan, the social and video guru, can he real-time blur? What's the latest? And by the way, we're getting all these people to sign up for YouTube to help the Boys and Girls Club. And then they're going to be like, wait, what am I signing up for?
You sign up, you subscribe, we donate money to the Boys and Girls Club. Whatever happens after that, we cannot control.
That's on the FCC.
There's no FCC on the internet. We all know that. There was big breaking news overnight, Andrew Bogish.
Yes, and it's all sponsored by Northern Tool and Equipment. Get the tools you need from the brands you trust. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. It has been 14 years since the Yankees last won the World Series. Their fans make it seem like it's been 140. Either way, the Bombers took a big swing at breaking that drought overnight. Their Juan Soto trade is now official. Fellow outfielder Trent Grisham comes with him for pitchers Michael King, Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, Drew Thorpe, and veteran catcher Kyle
Higashioka, the home run stroker. And getting higgy with it.
So good. One of my faves, Sterling.
Yes, but now it goes
That's
to
like
San
the mind
Diego.
of a madman because Kyle Higashioka hits like 4 home runs a year.
Yeah.
He's not the home run stroker.
Yeah.
He is Garrett Cole's personal catcher, though.
Yeah, he's keeping that one in the chamber. He's like, I only got 4 of these. This is like, special holiday meal. But, when you get it, it's going to be good.
It's the McRib of Sterling calls. It's a limited time.
And I need the Yes Network or somebody to give me a documentary on how Sterling comes up with these. I need to
Mind
see
of a madman.
But I need to know where he is. Does he have, to me, I see, and I've said this before, I see a room, a lot of oak, leather-bound books.
Suit mahogany.
Yeah, and he's just sitting there with like a legal pad, and he writes them out, and he gets mad and comes with the paper and throws it away.
There's a fire roaring.
Yeah, that's that. I hope that's how this works.
You don't think he's Johnson in a coffee shop? You don't see him that vibe. You see him more as
no.
He's at a steakhouse alone.
Correct.
Can you imagine being at a Starbucks though, and John Sterling is throwing out bad names?
Running them by
That'd be
you.
amazing.
I'd love to see those the sheet of the bad names.
Oh, it'd be
is
the
ones
best
I
thing
want to see.
ever.
I mean, you'd be seeing things you're like, what? Who came up with this?
I got to be honest. I think everyone in the country knows John Sterling, right? Like, that's a ubiquitous thing, his
Yes.
silly home run calls and stuff. But I think there actually are no bad ideas. Like, I think it comes to mind, and he's doing it. It's like Giancarlo, no se puede parlo, whatever he did in Italian that I can't say. Like, that maybe should have gone on the cutting room floor and didn't.
That was the best one.
It gets in the brain, and then it just goes.
I think it was Russell Martin. Pete, I remember. He did a French Russell Martin one, and it ended up being nothing. It was like gibberish. So that one probably needed some quality control.
Yeah, it was wrong, too, I believe.
Well, that's what they said about the Italian one.
Right.
So I'm saying nothing gets left on the cutting room floor. There's no bad ideas, whether it makes sense or
He
not.
sings some of them as well.
He does the what's it the one he sings? Oh, now I'm put on the spot. Now I can't remember.
It's a current player, isn't it? He sings for somebody right now.
All right, keep going.
Yeah,
and
we'll figure it out. We also have the Diamondbacks adding veteran lefty Eduardo Rodriguez, 4 years, $80 million. The Reds getting infielder Heimer Candelario, 3 years and $45 million. He had 22 homers and 70 RBI for the Nats and Cubs last season. Somehow the Timberwolves didn't make the NBA Cup quarterfinals despite having the league's best record.
Out to Nas up top, hierarchy 3 on the way. It's off the rim. No, slam, follow by hands. Oh, he let out some frustration on the rim. What a slam by Anthony Edwards.
Maybe he's mad they're not in Vegas instead of the Lakers or Pelicans. Alan Horton, T-Wolves Radio, Minnesota improving to 16-4 with a 102-94 decision over the Spurs. Their losing streak is now 15.
I would YouTube that dunk. That was pretty intense. Anthony Edwards, kind of the heir apparent of Vince Carter. He went up, actually checked his watch in midair, grabbed the ball, waved to the crowd. He must have been in the air for about 8 seconds.
Ordered something on Amazon Prime.
Amazing player.
So it's a 15-game skid for San Antonio, 18 for Detroit. The Pistons, a 116-102 home loss from the Grizzlies. They got a career-high 49 from Desmond Bane. Joel Embiid, a season-high 50. And the Sixers, 131-126 victory in Washington. And Steph Curry had 31 to get the Warriors past the Blazers, 110-106. The IST semifinals are today, as we all know. Bucks, Pacers, 5 Eastern from Vegas. Lakers, Pels at 9. The Jaguars are still calling it a high ankle sprain. Trevor Lawrence did not practice yesterday, but
I feel a lot better. I feel really, I feel a lot better than I would have thought I'd feel. I'm very fortunate. I'm thankful that it wasn't a worse injury, than what I kind of thought it was on the field.
I think he thought his foot fell off. But since he's feeling
amazing,
Lawrence still could play Sunday against the Browns.
I never put myself or the team in a position to where we're at a higher risk or we're not going to play our best because I'm not able to do my job. So, those are all questions you have to answer throughout the course of the week.
I'm with you. I don't understand. Like, somebody's lying here. You can't have a high ankle sprain on Monday night and play the next Sunday.
Don't you remember when high ankle sprains used to mean you were out for like 2 months?
At least 4 weeks. Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's the thing about Lawrence. Like, maybe he's just got this sort of Iron Man kind of thing. Remember earlier this season, the game against the New Orleans Saints, his knee was all messed up and he ended up rushing for like 100 yards.
Yeah.
And he is not really that kind of guy.
Right. And there's a video of him getting his ankle rolled last year and coming back almost immediately. So he's just but he's 6'6" and he's huge. I don't know why he would be a particularly plasticky, rubbery guy.
Well, also the way he reacted to going down was when your heart sank because he took off the helmet, threw it,
punched the turf.
Exactly. You're like, oh, this guy's we're never going to see him again or something like that. And now he's fine.
By the way, the total of that game, Cleveland and Jacksonville, I think that it's a weather game too, is at 30.
Same with tonight's game.
So, and tonight's
30.
game too, like this is all-time lows. I think that says that they don't expect Trevor Lawrence to play. And if he does, here's the other thing. Why are you playing against Cleveland and Myles Garrett? That's the one. I would healthy scratch myself for that game, let alone play with a high ankle sprain.
Well, if they figure out a way to win Monday night, maybe they would be a little more cautious, but they've only got a 1-game lead now to protect in the division.
Yeah. They got Houston's breathing and the Indy are breathing down their necks.
I know.
I'm telling you, the Colts are going to make the playoffs and everyone's going to be like, how?
Yep.
And then people are going to tell me Gardner Minshew, and I'm going to be like, no, really, how? And he's a high-end backup. I get it, but really, what happened?
Let's do some men's top 25 college hoops. Number 8, Marquette took care of number 12, Texas, 86-65. Tyler Kolek putting up 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Caitlin Clark scored her 3,000th point in Iowa's 72-67 win at Iowa State. Clark now the first D1 woman or man with 3,000 career points, 750 rebounds, and 750 assists. Jeez. And on ice, the Golden Knights were down 3-1 after one. They beat the Blues 6-3, 1 goal, 1 assist from Jack Eichel. Guys, back to you. That's right. Thank you, Pete.
I'm just wild about Harry.
It was about Harrison
Bader. Yep.
Who was a Yankee for most of last year, right?
Yeah, he got traded. He got hurt. But yes, he was around.
So current-ish.
I love the nightlife, and I like to boogie.
And again, he's 80 what? And working a full baseball schedule?
82.
He's a medical marvel.
Well, what's his name? Our guy, and Vince Scully went to 86. You could do that in baseball. You could keep going and going. Don't you love having a familiar voice in the booth? I don't want to break down the X's and O's. I just love like the comfort of a guy I've listened to for years.
Definitely. I don't know where the ball is.
that can be a little problematic.
Yeah, that happens a little too often.
But you know what? Ever since the eye surgery, to be fair to Sterling, he's been a lot better. It was just really hard to call games off of TV during the pandemic. Yeah. That's hard for anybody.
Oh, I'm wrong.
Now, he also did not move from the foul ball that got him in the face last year, so there is
Life is not fair.
Hey, let's keep it nice. This is we're trying to compliment John Sterling. Yeah,
really
come on, Bogus.
I didn't know it was coming back that far.
I was doing tape that night, and I could not believe what I was hearing.
He had all those Band-Aids on the side of his head. I felt terrible. Once I was doing a show on WFAN in the off-season, the Yankees off-season, and John Sterling just walked into our studio and sat down and started talking. It was amazing.
Ow!
You know the worst thing is
he dresses really cool, by the way.
This is not just a John Sterling. The worst thing that can happen to you, I don't know if you've ever called baseball, is when you think it's a home run and it gets caught like 5 yards in front of the warning
that
track.
might as well be the name of his memoir.
Yeah.
I thought it was a home run. I went into the call and it was a easy out and, can't afford.
That's the worst. It's not just, that happens to a lot of baseball announcers. Whenever I'm at a game, it can be a pop-up to deep second base. I'm like, oh, that's out of here. My first reaction is always,
Gotta
it's
watch
going
the
a
center
lot
fielder.
farther. Yeah, then you see the outfielder. I'm like, why is the outfielder not turning around? You guys don't do that at games where you misjudge fly balls?
Oh, definitely. I mean, but I've never actually called a baseball game.
But John's gone from the left fielder catching it at the fence to the start of the track to medium range left field to the shortstop catching the ball.
Shallow right.
That's the problem.
This is the worst part is when it's off the wall. Because I'm like, well, it's one thing if you're not sure if it's out. Who am I to criticize? I'm not criticizing John Sterling. I love John Sterling. I love Susan, too. They're amazing. But it's like when it's off the wall, there's like a lot of activity happening. Those are the funny ones.
He's the best.
You guys are going to leave me out here to dry when everyone's been dunking on Sterling. And then I say something and everyone gets quiet. Thank you, Foxholes.
I'm the young guy here, man. I love John Sterling.
I love John too.
It is.
I'll listen to a game whether the Yankees are ahead by 20 games or not making the playoffs.
I will say one thing though, because we talked about his writing process, and to me, what I see is a lot of the great writers. And I'm gonna ask the question here. I mean,
you mean like Shakespeare, like those kind of writers?
No, I mean like Drake. Are there ghostwriters potentially? Does he have a that's what I wonder.
You were like, to be or not to be, Kiki, do you love me?
Yes, exactly.
Same.
Because we all know like Drake has his OVO sweatshop in Toronto where he has all his.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All those talented folks that help him come up with these songs, and I'm curious if John Sterling has his own.
Do you think it's a
NYY sweatshop?
A John and Susan collabo?
Yeah.
Susan weighs in?
Because it's a lot. It's a lot of names. It's a lot of different rhyming. It's a lot of. I mean, he can't come up with all of these, and he has new ones. Like I love Clyde Frazier, who's a Knicks announcer, but a lot of his are like recycled lines. He doesn't come up with like new ones typically. He has like a few every now and then. I mean, the Yankee lineup and their roster changes like every year, so he's coming up with new stuff all the time. I can't imagine that he's the only person coming up with all these different names.
Terrible. I'm
Honestly,
sorry, John
EJ,
Sterling.
how dare you?
I mean, seriously.
You're trying to get us canceled around here. You don't think John Sterling is coming up with every single one? No, they're so unique to him. I don't even know if you could ghostwrite for that guy.
I don't even think there's a Mrs. Sterling, right? I think this is all.
Got a girlfriend.
Okay, so there is somebody in his house that he could be running things by.
I believe John has triplets.
Oh, he's got that's his squad then.
He's got triplets, young boys, and they are in college or either just graduated, and they're like,
And that's the thing, like I said, with Drake, it's not
amazing.
like people think people are just writing Drake songs. It's that Drake brings people together to help him put stuff together. I think that it's a squad of Sterlings potentially that are helping him with these new rhymes, these new run calls.
Like Sterling, Joe Castiglione, Hawk Harrelson. Like, can we get all the old timey guys?
I can't believe we just got from Sterling to Drake.
Oh yeah, Hawk Harrelson's still alive, right? Hey,
yes. Yeah.
Good. Put it on the board. Yes.
Another great call.
So good.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing if all the older generation of play-by-play guys got together like some kind of baseball Avengers, like some kind of old Avengers and like workshopped. Because you're right. Like all these other guys, it's the same call. John's coming up with new material all the time. Clyde Frazier's.
Non-Medicar, that ball sure traveled far.
I mean,
Clyde's been swishing and dishing in transition since the 85.
Styling and profiling through the lane.
Exactly. Spinning and winning. With Sterling, you don't know what's going to come out of his mouth next time
language
someone
it's
hits a
gonna
home
be.
run.
You know you can't predict baseball.
All right. Thank you, Andrew Bogish.
Oh, my pleasure.
We got to go. I'd love to hear about this Juan Soto trade from the San Diego side of this. The Yankees are going to get all the pub, and we can talk about the Yankees and whether they're going to win the World Series and what other moves they have up their sleeve. This has been a no-doubt failure from the San Diego side, and I'd be curious to see how those fans who are diehard, who are into it, who saw their football team get taken away, and are diehard Padres fans, Perloff, how are they feeling today? 855-212-4CBS. Of course, we'll unpack this from the Yankees side as well. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Big news overnight. Juan Soto gets traded to the New York Yankees. It was in the works yesterday for a while, Perloff, but it took a while to hammer out the details. 7-player trade. These things are not easy. Some medicals had to get into it, but listen, from the Yankees side, this is a no-brainer, no doubter. This is a desperate team with a fan base and, the history, like for them not to make the playoffs last year, for them now to be in a 14-year World Series drought, like it was like their general manager, Brian Cashman, feeling the heat. I mean, all of this stuff. Taking a big swing on Juan Soto was like not surprising, even though he's going to be a rental for 1 year.
Yeah. The thing about this is my reaction after Giancarlo Stanton is, you know what? I'm sure he could have a season with big numbers. Why does it seem like the Yankees cannot get it all working together in the same season, even when they make the playoffs?
Injuries.
Even in the play. So you're saying every playoff loss has really been because of injuries? I'm actually asking.
No, not every playoff loss has been because of injuries, but injuries have hampered them.
Yeah.
And playoff losses have usually happened because they can't get a big hit in a big spot, despite all the power. And that's where Juan Soto maybe changes things, where they thought Anthony Rizzo was going to change things, although he was hurt last year. You need guys who have proven they can hit in these big-time clutch situations. And then on some years it's been pitching, but a lot of years it's been not being able to get the big hit.
The other thing about Juan Soto, there's a couple things that surprised me. He's 24 still, or 25. 25. He's been in the league for 8 years.
He's already been a World Series MVP.
What is going on here? How is he?
World Series
how
MVP.
is he possibly that young? He's not a huge home run hitter, which is funny. Will he be with that crazy short porch in Yankee Stadium?
Oh, definitely. Well, you'd hope, right? But he's also a great table setter. Like, he's a good on-base guy, power to the gaps type of thing.
Yeah, that's immediately something I'm not paying $100 million for. Like, everything. Table setter. You know what? I mean, is that what the big...
table setter plus. It's an extremely good table setter.
Yeah, I don't know. My immediate inclination when I hear Yankees make a big splash like this is, oh, that's not going to work. I don't... Because the last 10 years...
They've earned the benefit of they have not earned the benefit of the doubt. With no question about it, because listen, even though Garrett Cole won the Cy Young this year in the American League, Aaron Judge won the MVP and 2 years ago because he broke the single season home run record for the American League side. But like, why would the Yankees have your undying confidence? You can't even say that anymore. But this is a very good move.
Okay, good moves in December. We'll see. Let's revisit this. Cut that sound.
Yeah.
Let's revisit this in August.
Now, on the San Diego side of this, though, that's a really great fan base. On the football side, I know it's been really tough for them, but people were into the Padres. I mean, they made every move. Heaven and earth was moved for the San Diego Padres. They increased the payroll by 74%. They went after everybody. And not only are they just losing Juan Soto now, even though they got back like a bevy, also they're going to miss, their closer is going to leave. Blake Snell is going to leave. Nick Martinez is going to leave. Like, yeah, you'll still have Machado and some other guys, but like you are now looking at the buildup and the teardown in a record amount of time. Can we hear from their general manager, please? This is AJ Preller. Doesn't sound thrilled he had to make this trade.
It's very difficult to make a deal where we're trading a player, the Cowboy, Juan Soto, but if we did that, we wanted to make sure we shored up a bunch of needs. We were able to get some depth with quality. I mean, I think we'll talk about it, I'm sure, but Michael King, Drew Thorpe, just to name two, we think really highly of these guys.
Just name some guys.
Yeah, I mean, Michael
Drew
King's
Thorpe.
fine.
Got Drew Thorpe on the roster.
You got 4 pitchers and you got a backup catcher on most teams. This has got to be tough for San Diego. 855-212-4CBS. Sean is in Oregon. Good morning, Sean. How you doing, dude?
Didn't those guys had to get a loan out last month to make payroll?
I believe so. Yeah, that's fine. The Padres, it turns out they spent money that they didn't really have in deep pockets.
Well,
as we thought.
the owner passed away. I mean, it's a team in flux now, Sean.
Well, I know I don't work for broke people, and I don't work for people that have problems making payroll.
Yeah. What do you have on John Sterling?
The Loco, the Soto.
Soto, you're giving him a thought.
Hey, I think he might go by the daycare, or maybe he knows like a third-grade school teacher that he gets these sayings from.
Like nursery rhymes.
Yeah, don't you think you could get the kids together in a classroom and probably come up with some good stuff yourself?
Sean, that's a really great visual.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, which is John Sterling. Like, with little kids, like the furniture is really small, like sitting at a tiny chair with kids all around him being like, okay, Juan Soto. What do you have?
Or you could go to, I'm picturing a middle school cafeteria. Like you're sitting there eating lunch and John Sterling pulls up next to you. Hey, we got Juan Soto. Any ideas?
Yeah. What do you got for, what is it? Grisham.
Trent Grisham.
I need something for Trent Grisham, please. Hit him, Grisham.
I feel like middle school, if you're going on middle school Perloff, that's going to be quite a ratchet number of suggestions from these kids. That is the worst group of kids.
I got 2 middle schoolers, EJ. I know too well.
Coming up, going to talk some NFL this weekend. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She can put away a large pizza by herself. He's allergic to cheese. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
What a combo. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So glad to have you on this Thursday. We do have football tonight, Perloff.
Sort of.
Well, listen, for the Patriots, okay, this is a lost season. They have 2 wins. They stink. It's going to be a really interesting... let me rephrase that. The offense stinks. The defense is actually still good, but the offense stinks. And there's going to be a lot of changes, or at least a lot of questions this offseason. For the Steelers, this is interesting. Kenny Pickett goes down with an injury, so now you have Mitchell Trubisky, but everyone else in the AFC is losing quarterbacks left and right. You're not out of this thing. If the playoffs started today, they'd have the 5th seed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was all about the Steelers last week. So disappointed the way they played against Arizona.
Yeah.
Mitchell Trubisky is not, he's not a rookie 6th-round pick coming in there. You can't beat Arizona at home, and you're at the 1-yard line when Pickett goes out. That was an embarrassing performance. And the Steelers do this. They win games they shouldn't, and they lose games they shouldn't. So that means we have no idea what's going to happen tonight.
Oh, I think it's going to be Steelers winning huge tonight.
Huge,
really
What's
big.
A huge Steelers win? 16-12?
yeah, something like that.
How huge? How are they going to score points?
Never in doubt is what I would say, because Trubisky, we've seen this before. We know what he is, but he is experienced, right? So you're just hoping that he doesn't turn the ball over. And on the flip side, the Patriots cannot score. I mean, they have the 3rd game in a row where they have fewer than 3 points, and they're 0-3, where they allow, where they have 3 points. They cannot find the end zone, and at least the Steelers are competent, I would say, on offense. Compared to New England, they look like the greatest show on turf.
But that being said, the Patriots defense is so good that they're in all these games.
They are.
So that's why I don't see a blowout. Seems very unrealistic.
Well, it can't be a blowout because you're right. The Pittsburgh can't score enough for a blowout. But I also see a team that's embarrassed coming off of that loss to Arizona, even though it was wonky and the 2 weather delays and all of that. I think that they're embarrassed, and Mike Tomlin is really good on a short week, and I think getting these guys up for this.
If I told you there was an NFL defense who let up in their last 3 games 10 points, 10 points, and 6 points, you'd be like, wow, that's got to be a great team. Are we talking 2,000 Ravens? So... Yeah, and what's the?
And they're 0-3 in those, and
they're 0-3, and not
that's
even
the first time that's happened since the 1930s.
You watched some of that Chargers game, right?
I did.
Yeah, we watched it. It never. You're right. It was 6-0, and it felt like a 6-0 blowout.
The Chargers never got in the red zone.
I mean, there was a play to Devontae Parker toward the end of the game that made it seem like the Patriots were moving the ball, but it's such a weird dynamic. That being said, it's going up against the NBA in-season tournament, and with all that, it's still going to get a huge rating because people are going to want to see Belichick. People love the Steelers. So it's fascinating. And there is a playoff picture thing here. It's a big deal for the Steelers to get this win.
There's short-term questions for the Steelers about this season and their ability to make the playoffs and all of that. And then there's real long-term questions a little bit more with the Steelers too, which is, this is the sad part about what happened with the Steelers this year. Because the Matt Canada situation, the offensive coordinator, lasted so long, you never got a chance to really evaluate Pickett in year 2, and he's been banged up all year, and now he's got the tightrope surgery on the ankle, and he's going to try to come back. You paired a first-year quarterback with a first-year NFL play caller and thought that somehow they were going to, learn on the job together? That just seems like such a horrible idea. And then the fact that Pickett never progressed from year 1 to year 2, it's like You're a neutral. Do you draft a quarterback next year? Do you not? Like, all these topics are still swirling.
Yeah, I mean, the big issue around the drafting a quarterback is, do they make the playoffs? Because if you make the playoffs, they're 20 or below. If they get into that top 15 with this year's class, it's got to be tempting. I don't think they will. They seem to like Kenny Pickett. Don't you get that vibe coming out of the building? He's probably a nice young man, but there also feels like there's this commitment to Kenny Pickett. I don't know what I'm basing this on.
I feel like the wide receivers don't love him that much.
I think they don't love the coach. I don't ever think it was Pickett. I think it was Matt Canada. But you know that video when Canada got fired of the kicker cursing him out? Like, that shows you that the players thought it was a coach.
Let's get to our first guest for today, and that is the one and only Ross Tucker. We love the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Ross, it's Maggie and Perloff, dude. Good morning.
Good morning. Do you guys see this right now?
Amazing.
I think there's two of me since there's two of you. This is incredible. I have no idea.
You're like a ghost in the machine.
I know, Ross. Why did you dark side of the moon us right now?
Like 5 times. But I feel like I'm in like Star Wars or Star Trek or something right now.
If you're watching youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio, this looks like an 80s music video, you know? It's just like you, like a million Rosses going into infinity. But for the people who are just listening, you guys can just, figure the imagination. Yeah, 2 Ross Tuckers side by side.
Yeah, thank you for hanging in there with us, Ross. I apologize for this.
No, as long as you guys can hear me, it's great. Let's do it.
Listen, you live in Steelers country, right? So we said there's immediate questions about the Steelers, and then there's more long-term questions. For the immediate, Ross, do you think they can still make the playoffs?
Yeah, it's so funny. 2 things on living here in Central PA where there are a lot of Steelers fans. Number 1, okay, this is the week where people call for Tomlin to be fired because they had their Tomlin special on Sunday. They literally have a name for it in Pennsylvania when the Steelers lose their annual game at home to one of the 5 worst teams in the league. It happens every year. It's uncanny. It's actually remarkable that they never have a losing season, despite the fact that they always have what Steelers fans call the Tomlin special when they lose a game like this that they shouldn't. So it's a good thing for Mike Tomlin that they play tonight and that the Tomlin special that discussion didn't have to last that long, because now they're playing tonight against a terrible Patriots team and they'll probably get the win. And next thing you know, they'll be 8-5 and very much in the thick of the playoff race. But I was listening to you guys talk about Kenny Pickett, and that's a really interesting conversation because I had several Steelers fans that are friends. They did not want the Steelers to draft Kenny Pickett for the exact reason you guys were just talking about. He's beloved in Pittsburgh because of what he did at Pitt. He's an average quarterback. And Tomlin, with an average quarterback, is going to win 8, 9, 10 games and probably make the playoffs. And so Steelers fans realize how loyal the Rooney family is. Right? We all know what they've done with head coaches and even assistant coaches. The Steelers are very, very loyal. So the concern with Steelers fans, even Maggie going back to when Kenny got drafted, was if they draft Pickett, we're going to be in purgatory. In other words, we're not going to be good enough to actually compete with the Chiefs or the Bills or the Ravens and win a Super Bowl, but we're not going to be so bad that they get rid of him or get rid of Tomlin. It's going to be good enough. And it kind of feels like that might be where the Steelers are. Now, maybe next year, with the new OC and a year further with experience, with the young skill guys they have, with Jalen Warren and Pickens, maybe next year they can be better, and maybe that's the goal. But what's going on right now is the exact fear that Steelers fans had when they were even contemplating drafting Kenny Pickett.
Can I have a question for the Ross on the left here?
It's like, remember that song Double Vision?
Is it an evil Ross and a good Ross? Okay, so Mike McCarthy has appendicitis and may coach on Sunday, a big game against the Eagles. How important is a head coach to the whole operation, both during the week and on Sunday?
Well, it's especially important in Dallas now because he's the play caller too, right? Like it was different when he was just sort of the game manager and Kellen Moore was calling the plays. Now that McCarthy's actually calling the plays, it's different. And by the way, guys, he lied to us. Do you remember when he got the job and he was like, yeah, I've been where Kellen's at, where he's trying to become a head coach and trying to lay up the scoreboard. I just want to run the ball and let my defense rest. Mike pulled the wool over our eyes. Yeah. I mean, have you watched the Cowboys?
The number one offense in the NFL.
I mean, it's unbelievable. He's done such a good job with this offense. I mean, they go no huddle a lot. They go empty sets. Dak's been on fire. I think old Mike McCarthy was sandbagging us a little bit. But I would say it's a big deal either way. Right? Like, even if he wasn't the play caller, which he is, and he's doing an outstanding job, you still want to have that guy that's in charge of managing all of the timeout and whether or not you go for it, all of those situations, challenge, flag, all that stuff during a game. And they can give those duties to Fossil, the special teams coordinator, or Brian Sean. Like, they can give it to somebody else, but whoever they would give it to doesn't have nearly the experience in those same situations that McCarthy does, especially in like a gotta have it game that we expect to come down to the end. And that's one of the reasons why, I think the Cowboys have a great chance to win this game. They have to win this game, right? Like, we all know they haven't been to an NFC championship game since 1996. They're not going to the Super Bowl this year if they're a wild card. It's just too hard, right? Like 3 road playoff games, including one very likely at Philly, one at San Francisco. We haven't seen the Cowboys really prove that they can beat either one of those teams, let alone to beat both of them consecutive weeks on the road. They have to win this game. They have to try to win the NFC East to have a realistic chance, in my mind, to get to the Super Bowl.
Ross Tucker is joining us. He's the host of the Ross Tucker podcast, which you can check out on social media at Ross Tucker NFL. Also, he's doing things with myfrontpagestory.com, which is a really fun holiday gift, which we can get into in just a moment. This whole thing about the MVP could be decided, Ross, in this game, right? Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, although Brock Purdy is the front runner. I got to tell you, I'm not there with the Brock Purdy MVP. Because he's a great player, and I said he'll be rich, famous, he's gonna, respected, all of that stuff, be Mr. Irrelevant, amazing. But he's not the MVP of that team. He's distributing to amazing weapons on that team. Am I right or wrong?
Well, so what's interesting to me about that, right, is I'd be really curious if you talk to Niners players and coaches and said, who's your offensive MVP? I'd be curious to see how many would say Purdy and how many would say McCaffrey. Now, I think Purdy's fantastic, and I think we've seen, Maggie, distributors win MVPs before, right? What he does, and I've said this before, it's not really visually impressive, right? Like the week before when the Eagles played the Bills, Josh Allen had like 10 plays where I'm literally sitting there with my wife. I'm like, holy crap, babe, did you see that? like, holy crap, did you see that? Like, that's Josh Allen. Brock Purdy, like, dropping back, getting rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds because he makes the right read and throws to an open receiver. Nobody says, hey, babe, did you see that? Like, it's not impressive. It's not something that jumps out to you at all. But that's kind of what Tom Brady was, right? I mean, I would love to see, like, Tom Brady's 2 minutes of his best highlights. What is it, like a 5-yard out route to Wes Welker? Like Brady, some of these guys, they're just not doing things that wow us because it doesn't wow somebody when a guy makes the right read and has good ball placement on an in-breaking route. Like, and that's going to be Purdy. And I think we're just going to have to get used to that. That's still what we want them to do. My bigger issue, Maggie, about the MVP thing is, are any of them really like that great if the MVP odds change every week? Like 2 weeks ago, who was it? Mahomes? Then it was Hurts last week. This week it's Purdy. Now, let's say Dak lights it up on Sunday night and the Cowboys win, and maybe Purdy's just okay against the Seahawks. Then next week, Dak will be the favorite. Like, if it changes every week, are any of them really that head and shoulders above the rest? And the answer is no.
All right, Ross, give me a Christmas idea present. I'm scrambling right now.
Well, because everybody like you, Perloff, just gets like a gift card for their wife. They don't know.
Absolutely.
No, dude, you're a former writer. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you still write. Sorry, I don't read it.
Yeah.
Anyway, you got to go to myfrontpagestory.com. You literally talk to a writer like Perloff. I'll even hire Perloff on a freelance basis to try to write your story for 10 minutes.
Can't afford them, Ross. You can't afford them.
Yeah, no, dude, that'd be amazing. For 10 minutes, you'll get a Dartmouth quality story written about your wife and how amazing she is. Literally looks like it's on the cover of the newspaper. Here, I'll show you guys two at the same time for the YouTube audience.
With the double vision.
There's two at the same time. Never been at 3, 4, 5. Anyway, it's called myfrontpagestory.com. A buddy of mine started it. I'm passionate about it. By far the best holiday gift you could ever get a loved one, I promise. Even when she just reads the quotes like, I don't thank her enough for everything she does for the family, she will cry, dude. She will cry. myfrontpagestory.com. Happy tears. And then for the next 5 years, you can get her gift card. At least you have that 1 year where you got something unique and thoughtful. myfrontpagestory.com. Do it.
Ross, really quickly, one thing I'm passionate about is why don't we have grudges anymore? And what I'm talking about is Big Dom and Dre Greenlaw have already buried the hatchet after what happened last week. Like, can't we have a grudge? I don't want them to bury the hatchet. I want this to be a blood feud. I want it to spill out into something like we all got to be adults all the time now. Everyone's making nice.
I too like a healthy grudge.
Thank you.
But I think if there are concerns about fines and possible discipline, the sooner that you apologize to each other and you make it public that you've apologized and everything's okay, everything's nice, that I think the better chance there is that you don't get punished as severely. I think that's part of it here, Maggie.
Come on. Ross, thank you so much. Ross Tucker Football Podcast. You're awesome, Ross. Thank you so much.
Well, we both really appreciate you having me on the show. Thank you.
Thanks, Ross.
Thanks, Ross and Ross.
Yeah, and Ross.
And Ross and Ross and Ross.
Oh, wow. That was interesting. The visual.
Do you know that song Double Vision? Quick story about that. It's not Journey. Who is it?
I don't know the song.
What is it?
I think it's Hall & Oates.
No, it's not Hall & Oates. It's anyway, the guy who was part of Double Vision, Mick Jones, I think is his name. I interviewed him once. I should know this. It was inspired by hockey.
Oh, Foreigner.
Foreigner. Thank you. So it was inspired by hockey where a guy got hit on the ice. I think it was like John Davidson or something in back in the 70s. And they said he's out for double vision. And Mick Jones from Foreigner was sitting in the crowd that night, and it gave him the inspiration to write that song.
It's one of the great stories of all time, Maggie.
You're welcome, America.
No, it's not.
Oh, that was mean.
Ouch.
He just told a Foreigner story. Come on.
I also put my foot in my mouth in that interview.
Wait, what?
Well, I think I kind of offended him, and I didn't mean to. So Mick Jones from Foreigner comes in, and we're doing an interview.
Oh, I thought you meant with the interview with Ross. I'm like, what?
No, we're cool.
Oh, you offended Mick Jones. Oh.
I offended Mick Jones because it was right before the New York Super Bowl. Bruno Mars was doing the Super Bowl, and I was asking about, Bruno Mars at that time had kind of very liberally borrowed, I think, from Sting or something for one of his songs. He got kind of accused of ripping off like Sting or something.
Okay.
So I asked Mick Jones, I was like, what do you think about that? Where's the line, where other artists can borrow and be inspired by, or it's just like a straight rip off and you would get upset about it?
Sounds like a very fair question.
Yes. He goes, well, my stepson is Mark Ronson, who produced that song you're talking about. So I don't think it's a rip off at all.
That's funny.
Yep.
Wow.
And I'm going to back away.
The stepson, though, is tough. Who knows who, is different last name. Like,
don't, EJ, thank you for the trying to kick saving a beauty for
also,
me. I should have known.
Who are Mark Ronson's parents? Like, we all know, doesn't he come from a famous family?
Yeah, and his mom is married to Mick Jones from Foreigner. And his sister was the DJ or whatever.
Oh, boy.
He wrote Uptown Funk,
Yes. Awesome producer.
Amazing.
He got hits on hits on hits.
I know, and I insulted his stepdad. Also a, Grammy Award-winning musician. Just psh, psh, slaps all the way around. 855-212. Still slaps. I hope Ross is doing interviews all day and does it as double vision the whole time. All right, we got a lot to get to, including, how about this crazy story? NFL team, massive fraud, and a crazy headline that we'll get to.
By the way, I didn't get Jessica. I completely 100% disagree with you on the Dre Greenlaw Big Dom thing. I think this was one of the most heartwarming reunions in the history of sports.
God, what kind of Philadelphia sports fan
honestly,
are you?
I saw the tweet yesterday. I started to tear up. This was so cool. The Big Dom and Dre Greenlaw are getting together on the same page. I disagree with Ross, too. This wasn't about money. This was about two competitors finding a common ground.
Yeah, this is about friendship. No, this is about someone trying to get Big Dom back and not suspended for the league.
No, I thought Dre Greenlaw's quotes were really nice. He's like, I hear he's a straight up guy. Like, I think that is game respecting game right there.
It's been 48 hours, basically. You can't let this simmer grudge match. You're going to see these guys again in the playoffs, maybe. Let's get a round 2, Dre Greenlaw and Big Dom.
I was so moved. First of all, Dre Greenlaw should be an Eagle. He plays like an Eagle. He's dirty like an Eagle. I like everything about him. Him and Big Dom in another world would be best friends. And in fact, I think they'll do a podcast someday together. This is the beginning of an amazing relationship.
Well, no, we can't have the Dre Greenlaw and Dom podcast because we got the K-Fizz and Dom podcast coming out. So we can't mess up the collab we have that we're cooking with
Founded by Tyreek Hill.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Funded by Tyreek Hill.
First guest, Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had on your bingo card for NFL storylines, K-Fizz giving his phone to Tyreek Hill to do a flip and getting suspended, and Big Dom fighting Dre Greenlaw would not be on there. But
podcast name, No Sideline Access.
There you go. Love it.
That's amazing. Wow. EJ, you going to produce that?
Hey, I can use another check. I'll still be here, and I can also
first guest, Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah, first guest.
At least give me Dre Greenlaw as a guest.
It'd just be funny if you happen to sit down the first day as if you and I lose the Michigan bet and you're in a wrestling singlet. It's like, no, I promise. I'm
a normal person.
I can do this for you. Like, why are you wearing wrestling gear?
Are you kidding me? Big Dom, he would take that in stride. You think you could get Big Dom off his base?
Man, Philly's getting soft, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, we got a Philly guy here talking about Dre Greenlaw, apologizing. This is awesome.
You want to load manage during the biggest game of the season.
Wait.
You want Big Dom to apologize to Dre Greenlaw. What happened to, Philly being, a chip on your shoulder?
A team employees tried to start a fight with the most vicious linebacker in the entire NFL in the game. And you're telling me Philly is soft?
Yeah, and then apologize.
Right, you're apologizing. You're saying that
Stand by it.
It's heartwarming that they're getting together.
What is it? Stand on your business? Isn't that what they say?
Yeah, stand on business. You're not standing on business, Perloff.
No. I think Eagles fans respect a certain level of toughness in other teams. That's why we hate the Cowboys.
Philly Eagles fans and respect are just two words that do not belong together. And I love Eagles fans.
Listen, they hate Deebo Samuel because he's out there talking trash all the time. But I think Eagles fans walk away from that game and say, "Ooh, I like Dre Greenlaw." I honestly do.
Weak on both accounts. 855-212-4CBS. That's an off-season story. Off-season, we find that they ran into each other. Maybe they buried the hatchet.
Are you telling me
when you can face them again in the playoffs?
They're going to play in the playoffs, and see Fox is going to have a 5-minute interview with Big Dom and Dre Greenlaw, and you're going to cry.
Yeah,
Maggie.
Well, Dom's going to be parts unknown because that dude's not catching a sideline for a long, long time. 855-212-4CBS. Okay, a lot more to do, including biggest rumors in the transfer portal. We've got NFL for you. Don't move a muscle. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Today's Thursday Night Football preview is sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Steelers hosting the Patriots in a game that's a shell of those postseason matchups of a few years ago. Pittsburgh's 6-point favorite on FanDuel. It's a fight to hang on to the 5th spot in the AFC playoff picture. Meanwhile, Bill Belichick and the 2-10 Patriots. What's going to happen in his future? We'll get into that later. I mean, we have to watch this game, Maggie. This is not a game you're excited to watch. It's like you have to watch. I have to see what happens.
How much of this game is like playing old clips from like AFC championship games? And it's another Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger showdown when we look at those highlights and all of a sudden they look old.
Can I get back to one thing here for a second?
Yeah, of course.
Again, you're secretly mean, Machiavellian Maggie, heartless.
There's nothing secret about it.
Can I just read Dre Greenlaw, what he said? Dre Greenlaw, the 49ers linebacker, has exchanged apologies with Big Dom, the Eagles security guard who got in a fight with on Sunday.
Weak.
He said, we just exchanged a formal apology. Formal, I like it. Just between me and John Lynch and some of the same people that we know in the building and stuff like that. He seemed like a genuine guy, talking about Big Dom. seemed like a guy that everybody loved in the building. So I hate that, honestly. I really hate that it even escalated and went to that. I appreciate your apology, Dre Greenlaw. And you know what? I don't really want to see you in the playoffs, but you can hang out in Philadelphia anytime you want. And I like that everybody is willing to put the fight aside and move on.
Listen, for society, fine. This is probably the two adults in the room doing the better thing, but I hate this for sports. First of all, this could all be done in the offseason. And if I'm Dre Greenlaw, I'm done with Philadelphia. I just trashed your butts. I went into Philly, I kicked you around, and now I get to, prove. Now we're proving that we're the best team in the NFL right now. We're at the top of the mountain. Why would I concern myself with the opinion of a security guard, no matter how beloved he is? Like, this is weak. You're Dre Greenlaw. Get ready for your next opponent. Be focused in on that. Don't be distracted by stupid Philly stuff like Big Dom on the sideline. I hate it. I hate it from the Philly side, too, that you guys were so like, oh, my God, Dre Greenlaw apologized, and everyone's moving on. Where's your edge? Where's your, fight? And then from Dre Greenlaw, get out of here. It's not even another player. It's the security guy. Have a little pride, man.
Well,
you're the linebacker. You're the starting linebacker. That's Big Dom, the dude who tells everybody where to get lunch. Please. And gets people out of speeding tickets in Philadelphia, the fixer.
Greenlaw's smart, though. He knows that they're going to play in the playoffs, and he's got, every time Greenlaw hits somebody, it's a borderline flag. He knows he's got to get in good with the NFL right now because we need some personal fouls against Dre Greenlaw
How about
in the next round.
Then, sponsor some kids going to Toys R Us and picking out toys or something. There's other ways to get in the good graces of the public than apologizing to the security guard, who was in the wrong, by the way. Why is Dre Greenlaw apologizing? The security guard shouldn't have been anywhere near him. He's an actual player, and this guy is just like a poncho wearing, like he's wearing a windbreaker over there. Get out of here.
Because Big Dom's good people. I don't know what these are two good dudes.
He's a great guy who just involved himself with a play in a massive game in the NFC.
You can say whatever I don't care what you say about Dre Greenlaw, but if you're going to come after Dom, then I just trust your judgment and character. Because have you ever heard a bad word about Big Dom?
I've never heard a word about him, period. I know who Dre Greenlaw is because he's an amazing player. Not the same.
Yeah, no, I think Big Dom, Dre Greenlaw, two quality dudes. I'm fine with this. Deebo Samuel, that's a different story. Now, he's the guy I would yell at.
Andrew Bogish is here with headlines. There's news today.
There is. We'll get to that in just a second. But first things first, as we're learning, it is hard to get up for regular NBA games these days. The IST, a distant memory for the Jazz. So they put up little resistance last night in a meaningless game in Dallas.
Luka brings it up to his left off Powell into the lane, and he got the Gortat screen, and there's the 40-point triple-double.
So over 10% of his triple-doubles are 40-point triple-doubles. Amazing.
It is just simply absurd what he's doing.
Chuck Cooperstein on Mavs Radio. 7th career 40-point triple-double for Doncic. He finished with 40, 10 boards, 11 assists, and a 147-97 rout of Utah. He actually had the triple-double by halftime. Doncic, though, even more efficient in his postgame on-court interview.
Pretty important to come out here and get this win and get it in 50-point. That's resounding fashion.
Yeah, the point I said before the game, we just kept around and we just...
That's now called the Maggie. 2 bleeps in one segment.
He fits in well in that town, by the way. Luka.
Do they curse in Dallas?
No, just huge regular season numbers and eventual playoff disappointment. Reminds me a lot of Dak Prescott.
Wow.
Joel Embiid with 50 points and 13 boards and 0 post-game on-air curses as far as I know after his Sixers down the Wizards 131-126. The Clippers topped the Nuggets 111-102 to end an 8-game skid head-to-head. The Heat 112-103 winners in Toronto, and Paolo Banchero a career-high 42, but the Magic lost in Cleveland 121-111. The Yankee outfield now includes Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. The trade with San Diego became official while many of us were sleeping. The Yankees also get center fielder Trent Grisham while sending pitchers Michael King, Randy Vasquez, Johnny Bria. It doesn't matter. They have Soto and Judge, hopefully for just one season. The NL champion Diamondbacks putting more space between them and the Phillies by signing lefty starter Eduardo Rodriguez, 4 years, $80 million to start. There's a vesting option for 1 more year and another $20 million. To push a tush or not to push a tush? That's the question for many around the NFL. Jason Kelce is quite literally at the center of this debate and doesn't care what happens.
Listen, ban it. I really, at this point, I don't care. I'm over the discussion about it.
To be fair, it would just be banning like the push in the back. Everybody would still be able to run the QB sneak, I think.
Well, that's where I'm kind of like, whatever. We were really good at running quarterback sneak before we did the push. I don't think that it's a necessary part for it. It certainly helps. There's no question about it. I don't have the energy to care about whether it gets banned or not.
That's a lie. That's a lie coming out of Jason Kelce.
So you've now called him ugly and a liar
well,
in the history of this show.
It was just compared to the other People magazine's most beautiful people. But yes, you're right. He's lying. This is the Philadelphia cheat code. He doesn't want them to ban it. The only reason he's out here talking tough, I think, about ban it, I don't care, I don't want to talk about it anymore, is because he's probably retiring at the end of the year. And it's not going to matter for him anyway. If he was still playing next season, I think that he's not talking so flippantly about this.
Yeah, I got to be honest, though. His logic does track with me as someone who's watched football my whole life. I mean, QB sneak's not that hard even before this. Like, I don't know why every team isn't QB sneaking all over the place.
I don't know.
Tom
Brady did it.
Did Tom Brady ever miss a QB sneak? And we didn't ban that thing. So what's the difference?
I don't know. Brady ran it to perfection. And he had different centers all the time. It's that Brady's offensive line changed a lot over his career.
I just think that his point was that this sort of hatred of this play is a little overblown.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's like teams have been QB sneaking forever, and Jalen Hurts is a monster down there. He's going to get a yard.
All right, well, then let's ban it. And then let's see what's going on.
I've seen your guy, Josh Allen, fall forward, and it's a 4-yard gain. I mean, everybody can sneak.
Oh, I wish that they would. I mean,
except he had that one where he went backwards and tripped and cost him a game.
Yeah, well, he's done that. He's fumbled at the goal line. Yeah. It's not all peaches and cream. But here's why. I think that, I don't think it's something you practice. Right?
Oh, I think you do.
We talked about this.
The Giants did, and it lost 2 guys on one try.
No, but quarterback sneak or a tush push?
I don't think maybe quarterback sneaks because, it's a really physical play, and they've gotten a lot of the physicality out of practices now. And I'm wondering if guys aren't used to it because do you practice it a lot? I don't know.
Of course.
We should ask
but a physical play is when a wide receiver goes over the middle and gets blown up by a safety. No one's getting concussion on his quarterback sneak. You're right next to the guy, and you sort of go like that.
Yeah, but it's like a lot of those kinds of hits I thought got removed from practice because you don't want the repetitive hits to the head. So I think how many teams are practicing
I think you practice on your side where it might be, because there's a lot of timing in a quarterback sneak.
Of course. It's like laying down a bunt. Guys don't do it a lot. I don't think they practice it a lot.
I think they probably do because you got to get the call exactly right because quarterback sneak's all about timing. Right, so you got to know exactly when the quarterback's going to go. I would hope they practice tush push. By the way, if they ban the tush push, that means all sorts of running plays are going to go away.
I also have a question about this as well. So if the Eagles win a championship and then they ban the tush push, and this generation of Eagles with Hurts involved, they never win a championship. Is there an asterisk?
See, this is why Jason Kelce's angry because of questions like that.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, but
an asterisk is
ask
funny.
the answer because this is a team that is basically starts 1st and 9 every time they have the ball because with this 1 yard they're going to get it, and if all of a sudden they Jason Kelce sounds very confident that they're going to be fine without it, and I tend to think they will. But if they're not, and all of a sudden next year they're not getting 4th and 1s and they're struggling with it, do we put any kind of thing saying, well, they won that Super Bowl?
And then the rules change.
Pre-tush push rule.
Without the new rules.
They just had a 38-35 Super Bowl with Kansas City Chiefs where Hurts and Mahomes were throwing 40-yard bombs all over the field.
Yeah.
That was not defined by the tush push.
But they didn't win.
Right, but I'm saying
they ran the tush push, I think, 5 times in the Super Bowl.
But regardless, that game was about Jalen Hurts flinging the ball all over the field. That was definitely not defined by the tush push. That was not a tush push.
He scored a touchdown on the tush push.
Yeah.
No, but they would have scored anyway. That's my point. Do you really think, the only reason that game was 38-35 was because of their short yardage game? And you're crazy.
No,
that game was an aerial attack on both sides.
That's just the Super Bowl. And as EJ just mentioned, they scored a touchdown on it and they used it a lot during the game. It's also all those games that led up to getting to the Super Bowl.
No, but this is not like the NHL changing power play rules because the Oilers were blitzing people in the entire 80s. It's a very useful play, but it's not the defining play of the Eagles.
Oh, I disagree. I think
not in an actual. It has become that way, which is why I'm with Perloff on what Jason Kelce's talking about. He's almost insulted by the over exaggeration of this play because while it's going to be comically connected to them, it's not the best thing they do on the football field.
Okay, but here, when you look at like stats and metrics and things that we use to tell really good teams, or you're telling the story of the game, what's one thing we generally go to? Third down and fourth down conversions. And what are those? A lot of those third down and fourth down conversions for the Eagles are tush push.
Yeah, but aren't they going to make a lot of those anyway? What's a third and one conversion rate around the NFL?
Wait, but how many times do you say, "Oh, I can't stand these teams that go into shotgun on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 and they don't get it"? I feel like we complain about that.
Right, they should QB sneak like Tom Brady did for 20 years.
But I'm saying if they then go to a conventional QB sneak and they're not nearly as effective,
there's no way they won't be nearly as effective. QB sneak, because 75% of QB sneaks work, and
so here's
80% they'll be just as effective, or maybe an inch below.
Okay, so here's a question: if the QB sneak is the same as the tush push, why don't the Eagles just run a QB sneak?
There you go.
Because
this
is
5%
more effective. It's much better.
But it's certainly not defined. Like, you honestly watched last year's Super Bowl, and when Mahomes and Hurts were having this great game, and said, "Oh my God, the Eagles wouldn't have been in this one if it wasn't for the tush push."
Take away the Super Bowl, which again, it was a factor
It
in the
did
Super
score
Bowl.
a touchdown,
But let's just
right,
take
and
it
it was
away
the
for
ball,
that.
but whatever.
When people think of the Eagles in 2022 and 2023, what is the one thing they do better than everyone else? Like, they have perfected this play, and it keeps your offense out the field, which helps your defense. The ripple effects of the tush push are massive.
God.
And I think the mental also the mental effect you have on the other team, knowing that if you get within a yard, you're getting a first down or you're getting a touchdown. Like, or if it's 4th and 1 or 4th on the goal, and it's a mental advantage, no question.
Yeah.
Every team that plays the Eagles, I guarantee you, they all are spending at least an hour, 2 hours trying to figure out how to stop this thing.
It's unstoppable. You can't
Right.
stop it.
If you're telling me now they're going to a conventional QB sneak and teams can take that off the board, who knows how much that affects their preparation?
What percentage of QB sneaks do you think work in the NFL?
Probably a pretty high percent.
Yeah, so what's...
So why don't the Eagles just run QB sneak?
These are the numbers. Right now, they are the best 4th down team in the NFL by a significant margin because of that. But let's just say... So they convert at 73% of 4th downs right now.
Amazing.
The number 2 team is 67%. So that's 2/3 conversion. So even if they come back to 2/3 or 70%, because Hurts is better than Baker Mayfield right now at converting 4th downs, that's not going to take 10 points off the board per game for them.
Listen, you just, like, I feel like that stat just made the point.
Exactly.
Like, because here's the other part. There's usually, for all the other 31 teams besides the Eagles, when it's a 4th and short or a 3rd and short, there's, like, drama. Like, what are you going to run? What are you going to do? Yeah. Are you going to get it? Can you get the snap off cleanly? All these things, when they expend no mental fatigue, no, like, physical fatigue, obviously, but there's no, like, mental anguish, angst, anything. Should we go for it? Should we not? Like, it takes away all of that. It's a massive advantage.
Well, Tom Brady, I'm just looking at his sneak rate. He was 90.5% on 3rd and 1 since 2000.
And they were awesome.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
But nobody's like banned the Tom Brady quarterback sneak.
Well, because he wasn't pushing anybody.
I'm just saying, Jalen Hurts will probably be exactly the same.
That's the point. If the numbers,
then do it. Then just do the quarterback sneak.
We're talking about numbers, and I'm going to have numbers. So the NFL, they track this.
Yeah.
So you had direct and indirect pushes. The success rate on those plays was 93% on the goal line. The traditional QB sneak was 84%. That's a pretty big difference.
It's less.
Right.
It's not that
less.
big a difference.
93% to 84%, that's almost 10 points.
Man, honestly, the Eagles have real problems. Taking away the tush push would not be. Our quarterbacks being 45 years old is a big problem.
And Jason Kelce retiring would be a bigger problem.
The old narrative about the Eagles, everyone thinks that there's problems with like the offense. Like, their defense is falling apart in front of our eyes, and people are talking about the tush push and saying you should start Marcus Mariota. You guys are not watching this team.
That's David Carr.
You're not one person. Take away the tush push. It's fine. How are we going to cover CeeDee Lamb? That's the darn problem here.
That is a big problem also. And, you try to address it at the trade deadline and other things, but Jason Kelce is just lying here. Like,
are they still tired, by the way?
Exhausted.
They're still tired?
They're definitely tired. Well,
to travel to Dallas, what a pain in the
Dallas
butt that
at home with, Dallas has a 10-day rest.
Again, this is happening?
2 weeks in a row, they got the best teams in the league with a 10-day rest.
But you realize they also had short rest going into the games that they won, right? It goes both ways. It's not just, we have 10 days rest, we'll come off a bye. They went into Thursday and won a game. And
but they were played on Thanksgiving, so they actually had a full, short rest was 2 weeks ago.
Double Thursdays.
No, I'm talking about the Commander game. They came in short rest in that, and they scored 1 million points.
You guys understand that the Eagles were never going to go 17-0. Like, there's going to be losses on the schedule. And
we know, God. But you want to, like, prematurely give them the loss before they've even played the game.
But this is obviously a tough spot. They're going to Dallas right now.
It's a tough game.
Yeah.
Good, tough.
They're not, because you can't play, the Patsies every week.
Right, and if they come out of it, it's not like Panic City, USA, because they lost this game, and they're probably going to go 14-3 on the season.
I know this is like the Perloff getting himself ready for. It's the emotional barbed wire that you put around. It's like, hey, I'm just letting you know on Thursday that if they lose, no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a playoff game, it'd be much more of a must-win situation.
You think? 855-212-4CBS. Bogish, thank you so much. Coming up, we do have those college football transfer rumors for you. Everyone in the portal, where are they going? Also, the big trade from last night, Juan Soto goes to the evil empire, the New York Yankees. We got a lot for you. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. You got to have your head on a swivel to follow the college football transfer portals. Cameron Ward, the Washington State quarterback, prolific Washington State quarterback, has now been linked to Florida State, Miami, Nebraska, USC, Washington, Wisconsin, and many other schools.
Honestly, his free agency is more interesting than Shohei Ohtani's.
Yeah, college football is now a sport of mercenaries. So Cam Ward's a big one. Then Dante Moore, our guy, former 5-star quarterback at UCLA, being linked more and more to Michigan. I think this is all great. I can't wait to see all these quarterbacks go to new schools. It makes college football more interesting to me because now I get to see a new quarterback at every spot. Kentucky, we said yesterday, got Brock Vandagriff, former heavily recruited quarterback at Georgia. I think this is super cool for the sport. I know that you don't really get used to a guy and a new team, but for me, college football is like that. College football, you're only really starting for a year or two anyway. Yeah. If you're at Georgia, you might not even be a full-time starter, and you might go straight into the NFL. So, to me, I'm excited to see all these guys in new homes. Are you okay with the churn rate here?
Here's what the churn rate is one thing, because you're right. If you get a guy for 2 years, you kind of feel like he's been around forever, like you know him, you know?
Right, and like Tim Tebow at Florida.
Right, like Michael Penix, you know, it's like he feels like he's a Washington guy. Bo Nix feels like he's an Oregon guy, even though they had previous stops where they would be considered.
Yeah, I mean, Bo Nix had a full career at Auburn.
So here's my bigger thing about this. We can talk about the transfer part. I think guys who are like 26 and 27, while I appreciate that they're still chasing their dream, to me it's starting to get a little bit like, all right, you're kind of a full-grown man. Not that Jalen Carter at Georgia wasn't a full-grown man, but I'm just saying, like, it doesn't feel like college athletics. It used to be one thing when guys were going to play baseball somewhere else. Maybe you have to go on a mission, something like that. That I totally understand. But just because you can have 7 years of eligibility, I don't think means you should have 7 years of eligibility.
It's very Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. I know. No, I understand what you're saying. It's mostly quarterbacks who are super old because I don't think – maybe I'm not paying close enough attention. I don't see a lot of middle linebackers who's 26. It is an exception with the COVID year.
Yeah.
I do understand it, though, because experience is huge. If you're a coach, I don't want an 18-year-old anymore. I want this old guy.
It's Arch Manning. And even Arch isn't getting on the field.
I was thinking about this yesterday. I don't know that Arch Manning's first start is at Texas. I'm not sure where it is.
That's interesting.
Because I would be surprised. Arch might be the exception because he has a strong bond with Steve Sarkisian. But you see any 18-year-old signs, my immediate assumption is like, ooh, okay, he's going to train there a little bit. Then where's he going to go? Because everybody's in the portal. Anyone who can be in the portal is in the portal. So I just don't think freshmen matter anymore.
EJ, you hate the portal.
I do hate the portal. And I hate it because it's so hard now to follow these college athletes. I think there was a part of this, and I know we all root for laundry. We all root for Texas. You all root for Alabama or whoever your team is.
Yep.
But there was a romanticism around seeing Colt McCoy's journey from a freshman to a senior at Texas. There was some romanticism to seeing, for me, a Ken Dorsey or seeing, a Sean Taylor. Like, that's gone now.
That feels like a long time ago. Yeah, it's funny. It wasn't that long ago. But Colt McCoy feels like a different generation of football.
Ken Dorsey was 20 years ago.
They could do Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah. Like, there are guys even just 3 or 4 years ago where it was like, wow, this is a guy we saw as a freshman rise up to the national stage, go on to win a national championship. The idea that that player probably goes to 2 schools after winning a championship after his freshman year, like, there's something lost in that. I can't imagine that fans could really enjoy just this kind of yo-yoing of athletes around. I think they got to find some way to regulate this a little bit.
Interesting. Your thoughts on the transfer portal? Do you love it for college football? Do you hate it for college football? 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, we are answering one of the biggest what-ifs in sports. We'll do it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
This is Andrew.
An Odyssey Sports Minute sponsor.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
She once fell off a ski lift. He was called in for questioning. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
So welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So glad to have you. We do have NFL football tonight, but it doesn't really feel like the old Steelers-Patriots showdowns that we got used to with Roethlisberger and Tom Brady, Perloff. But that doesn't mean there aren't implications for this game. For the Patriots, obviously, trying to get the number 1 or number 2 overall pick. This is massive. You know, you hate to say it, but a loss for them definitely helps in the long term. And then for Pittsburgh, they need to win. You know, the AFC quarterback situation is dire, and they are part of that with Mitchell Trubisky starting tonight for the injured Kenny Pickett. But they are in the thick of this playoff race. This is a big game for them.
Yeah, I don't understand. Mitchell Trubisky has as much experience as any backup in the NFL. Why is he so bad? I mean, if you're telling me Jake Browning can go out there and light it up, CJ Beathard can have a field goal drive, why can't Mitchell Trubisky beat a terrible team? This is an interesting litmus test to me. Like, Trubisky better deliver tonight. Otherwise, I don't know what you do if you're the Steelers, because you're paying this guy. He's getting paid for a backup. He should be able to win this game easily. And I'm just a bit nervous about the Steelers because they have been so incompetent.
Well, it hasn't been good, but Mike Tomlin generally has been good coming off of an embarrassing loss, and he's been good on short weeks. So generally leads Steelers here, and they just need this game.
And it's going against the worst team. The Patriots are they're the worst. Maybe the Panthers.
So here's the thing. I think the Panthers are worse.
Yeah.
But the offense for the Patriots is not recognizable as an NFL offense. Like, you talk about the Jets don't have a starting quarterback on their team. The Patriots do not have a starting quarterback on their roster. And no disrespect to Malik Cunningham. I have no idea what he's like. But there's not a starting quarterback here between Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. So maybe Mac could be resurrected somewhere else, but it's not happening here.
So I watched a lot of that Chargers game. Don't ask me why.
It was a rain game.
I thought I had picked that game for my under, and I was thrilled all day in our weekly picks. Turns out I picked another game, another rain game that was a complete score fest.
How many bets you got going on?
So I thought my whole, because I was all about the under there, and I didn't pick it. But Bailey Zappi, you think Bailey Zappi played terribly? It was 6-0, right? I would assume everybody thought that. Bailey Zappi did not have one chance to throw the ball. Bill Belichick handed the ball off every game.
He doesn't trust him.
Of course he doesn't trust him, but it was like the Mac Jones win game against Buffalo. There was no way to evaluate anything about Bailey Zappi because they were running an offense from 1956. So it's not that the quarterbacks are terrible. Belichick basically goes out. They are, but Belichick goes out there and says, we're going to take the air out of the ball and try and win this with defensive running. I hope he doesn't do it tonight because that would be the most boring game ever.
Listen, it's going to be boring. We all just have to recognize that. But that's why we want to spice this thing up, because we have come up with a new segment that we're going to be debuting right now on the Maggie and Perloff Show. We are going to start doing this on Thursdays, not necessarily tied to the NFL game, but just on Thursdays. And this is what it sounds like.
Exploring sports' biggest what-ifs and could-have-beens. Let's dive into the multiverse of Maggie and Perloff.
Now, I learned what a multiverse is 5 minutes ago. But I get it. I get the point. We're going back over if we could have a redo, a change. How could things be different? And today's, inspired by tonight's game, is this question. What would have happened to the Patriots if Tom Brady never left? If Tom Brady never left for Tampa, do they win another Super Bowl or do they not?
I will go first. They were getting bad by 2019. The Bill Belichick GM experiment was failing miserably. There were no receivers there. Remember the look on Tom Brady's face at the end? It was very, very pessimistic. They were headed towards mediocrity with or without Tom Brady. Let's look at some of their receivers here. They drafted N'Keal Harry. That was a bad move.
Yeah.
He was throwing to Philip Dorsett. Julian Edelman was on his last leg. He wasn't going to be there. They tried to bring in the late Demaryius Thomas. They were just a mess. They could not draft skill position players, and it was starting to wear them down. Tom Brady's guys got old. There was no way to fix this. Brady got really lucky to get out of there when he could and go to Tampa Bay because the Patriots defense was still going to be good, but this offense just had no juice. It was not going to look good.
Okay. I think they still would have won another one. It was as bleak as it could possibly have been in 2019, right? Brady's last pass wasn't a pick six. I mean, terrible stuff against the Titans, a loss in Gillette. I mean, awful in the playoffs, but it was the playoffs. It was the last game of the regular season. I don't even remember. It was
playoffs.
It was playoffs. It was so dreadful. It was Logan Ryan, I remember, who did it. I just remember the game. But it was so dreadful. And that would have been the rock bottom. And if you still had Brady in the building, here's a couple things that would have happened, a couple things that never would have happened.
Okay.
A couple things that would have happened is Brady had an ability to bring wide receivers that he wanted into the building. He did this with Antonio Brown. Didn't work out that well. He did it with, I think, Randy Moss, Chad Ochocinco, other guys. He was not afraid of having big personality receivers. And I think that Brady, like the allure of playing with Brady would have, I think, could have lured one of these receivers who wanted to leave their situations. That's Devontae Adams. That's A.J. Brown. These are the guys who are difference makers and who Brady could have, connected with, and New England still would have been an attractive place to play. You never get Josh McDaniels leaving to go to the Raiders. That never happens if Brady still stays. So that means you never get this ridiculous combination of Matt Patricia and Joe Judge running the offense last year, which looked awful. And if you had Bill O'Brien back, if Josh McDaniels actually did go for another head coaching job, whatever, we already know what that looks like. One other thing. The Patriots are a bad team. The defense, though, is not bad. The defense is still good. They're still a top half of the league and top third of the league, rather, defense, without two of their best players, by the way, with Matthew Judon hurt and Christian Gonzalez out. And they still are a really good defense. If they had an average quarterback, if they had Russell Wilson right now, if they had Justin Fields, whoever you want to say, an average quarterback, they would be a winning football team because the defense is that good. So if they still had Brady, and Belichick didn't forget how to coach a defense, okay? They whiffed at the quarterback position and the wide receiver positions. They've always still had a good run game.
So if Brady could attract all these wide receivers, why didn't he attract any in 2019?
Well, I think that would have been the rock bottom where Brady could have said, you got to let me recruit. You've got to let me go out there and work my TB12 thing and start batting eyelashes at guys.
Okay, and there's nothing in he got Randy Moss was a very distressed asset when Randy Moss came there.
He was.
And Antonio Brown was on the garbage heap. He was not. He was nothing. Can you picture them trading a first-round pick for a wide receiver? They never even came close to that. I don't know what. Maybe I'm wrong, but check the Randy Moss trade. I don't think that was a high draft pick at all.
No, it wasn't a high draft pick, but that was.
So they've never done anything like that. Why all of a sudden, after 20 years of running it one way, with Bill Belichick change? There's no way he was going to change.
Well, I think if Brady had stayed, something would have had to change in their relationship, right? Because the relationship had gotten really bad. All the Alex Guerrero stuff.
Change.
No, but I think Brady still had a large degree of say in the organization. Right. And I think that his relationship with Robert Kraft, all that stuff is really good. If he had stayed and said, listen, I'm going to stay, but certain things have to change. You don't think that would have happened?
I absolutely don't. I think that's why he left, because I think that's exactly why he left. He needed good receivers, and he knew he wasn't going to get them in New England. So he's like, I need Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I'm out of here, because there's no way New England was bringing good receivers. They have two guys that you mentioned out of a 20-year run that are memorable in any way.
So they were due. No, but also I think that, yes, they had been doing things a certain way, but if Brady's saying either I'm going or I'm staying and you have to do this for me to stay, I think they would have acquiesced. The other thing is a lot of that stuff with him leaving, like, I don't know, you read a lot about it. It wasn't personnel. It was like Alex Guerrero, like the body man for Brady, and the slights that Belichick used to give Brady and never giving him a game ball in 20 years and always pointing out all of his flaws. Like Brady, at least from the reporting, just felt sick of always being the whipping boy of Belichick. He didn't really complain about the personnel.
Yeah, I don't know, though. If think about this. If the Patriots were any good in 2019, if they had weapons around, say Edelman was 5 years younger and Gronk was 8 years younger, do you think he would have left? No. He could have put all that stuff to the side and kept on going if they were successful. But Brady is a winner. He knew this team was not headed in the right direction. And Belichick's not changing. I think this idea that Belichick would have been forced to change, watch tonight. The dude will not change. He's going to run the same Bill Belichick stuff till the end of time.
Well, the defensive stuff is actually still working. So on that side of the ball, he doesn't have to change. On the offense, for sure, it would have had to. But again, you would have never had these blips with the Matt Patricia running the offense. Like, none of that crap would have ever happened here. So that's our question for you. In the Maggie and Perloff multiverse, the first what-if question as we debut this new segment, what would have happened if Tom Brady never left New England? I think they would have ripped off another one. It would have been tough. It would have been tough with Mahomes. Granted, it would have been tough with Mahomes.
Yeah, because they weren't a good team.
But he beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl in Tampa.
Yes, with a really good team around him. I think Brady is a utilitarian. He knew he had to win. I think I disagree with you about one thing. I do understand the Alex Guerrero stuff and all that. If the roster was better in New England, I think he would have looked past all that. I think he was smart. He's like, I got to get out of here. Get me to San Francisco. Get me to Tampa Bay. Somewhere that they're on the uptick, not on the downtick. And I'm just picturing his face in 2019. It was so sad. It was so sad when he dropped back and he realized, oh, man, I just have to throw the ball into the ground because these dudes cannot get open.
Okay, so here's why I think it had to do more with like individual stuff and egos and the Alex Guerrero stuff and everything, is because he also allegedly wanted to go to the Raiders. Like, it wasn't just like, I have to go to a team that's ready to win a Super Bowl right now. The Raiders weren't ready to win a Super Bowl right now.
Let's look at the Raiders depth chart in 2020 compared to the Patriots. I'm sure, and I don't even remember who they had, I'm sure their receivers were way better than the Patriots.
Everybody's receivers were better than the Patriots, but I'm saying they could have gotten new blood. I think Brady just wanted out. He wanted to leave.
No, but Brady was obviously very smart in the place he picked. Do you think that was an accident that he ended up in Tampa Bay with a sort of sleeping giant team? Okay, here's the one. Actually, maybe not. So in 2020... they had just drafted Henry Ruggs.
You know how that ended,
they had Hunter
sadly.
Renfrow. Nelson Aguilar was there, ironically. Now, Brian Edwards, Zay Jones. Oh, they had a lot of young receivers. They had drafted a lot of these guys. Now,
yeah, that wasn't exactly murderer's row. He just wanted to leave New England.
There was a moment where we all liked Brian Edwards. Yeah, I hear you. But also, I think he wanted to leave because the personnel was headed south. He did not like the team. And you could tell. And I think he was also sick of the offense as well. Do you think he was happy with the coaching? No.
I mean, I think he still liked Josh McDaniels. 855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. EJ, I think this screams for a poll question.
Yeah, I'm posting it right now.
There we go. You can go to @Maggie and Pearl. By the way, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where you can watch the show, along with twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. We would never forget our great Twitch audience. But we are doing something in the spirit of the holidays now, which is we are donating $1 for every subscriber we get before the end of the season. End of the year. Our goal is 1,000 subscribers. We donate $1 to charity, and thank you to our boss, Spike Eskin, who is also chipping in on this endeavor. We donate that to the Boys and Girls Club, specifically earmarked for youth sports campaign. So if you're in the chat right now, all you have to do is hit subscribe, and you've donated. That's it. You hit subscribe, we donate on your behalf, and we would be so grateful. Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4CBS. Phil is in Pennsylvania. Hey, Phil.
Hey, Maggie. Hey, Perloff. How you guys doing?
Good.
I actually agree with you, Perloff, that losing to Dallas is not the end of the world. Back whenever the Eagles just beat Kansas City, I told my family that the two most important wins for the Eagles to get are against Buffalo and against Seattle. I already penciled in Dallas and San Francisco as losses because lots of revenge factors there, lots of extra rest.
Yep.
But Buffalo on a short week, Seattle, we are really bad out there, are the most important ones. 14-3, I think you get it. And even if the Eagles lose this week to Dallas, Eagles still have the tiebreaker against them. You're going to hear a lot of chatter from Dallas, but still, Dallas has 3 NFC losses. Eagles only have 2. That's the tiebreaker as of right now.
So wait, Phil, where do you get the Niners loss? That's what's worrying me a little bit.
The Niners loss, that was a revenge one. And plus,
No, I'm saying they'll end up. The Niners could end up at 14-3, tied with the Eagles and possibly tied with the Cowboys, and they have the tiebreaker over both of them. So if the Eagles, Go ahead.
I am banking on Baltimore.
Yeah, me too.
Going in there and possibly a letdown because Seattle has 10 days of rest against San Francisco. San Francisco traveled to the East Coast and then back. Emotional win.
Yeah.
And plus against a divisional foe against Seattle. I'm hoping Seattle pulls one out this week with the extra rest.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be wearing a Lamar Jackson jersey for the December 25th Ravens-Niners game.
Phil
thinks like me.
Yeah.
He's looking big picture.
You've penetrated his brain.
This is not a sprint. It's a marathon, and there's a lot of calculus here.
Yeah, just hoping and praying for another team to beat one of your rivals is something.
Well, listen, no one's going 17-0. This obviously, it feels weird to me that the expectation, it's a disaster if you lose a game in the regular season. How many 16-0 or 17-0 champions have there ever been? None. You got to drop a couple games. It just happens.
You have. Like, we're not saying that the Eagles should have gone 17-0. We know you're not going 17-0. You've already lost games. So
this is definitely not a must-win game. It's just not.
Well, I mean, beg to differ with you. You want to say must win. I mean, that's our friend Dave Damashek. Only the Super Bowl is really a must win game. But you're talking about down the line. As far as the snapshot of where we are right now in the season, and as far as what you are playing for, which should be first place in your division, this is important. And to say otherwise is just lying to yourself.
No, but I think Phil and we look big picture. It's not a must-win game. I think people will say this is a must-win game. Listen, the Eagles are not as healthy as the Cowboys. That's not going to be the case in the playoffs.
For the Cowboys, it's a must-win. You don't want to fall back 0-2 to the Eagles because you're trying to win the division. Let's go to Nathan. He's in upstate New York. What a lovely place. Nathan, how are you? You hung up?
Wow.
Did you think I was being sarcastic? I'm from upstate New York.
No, that sounded more logistical. I don't think he even heard you.
Oh, okay. Well, forget it then. 855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. This is the time in upstate New York when the sun disappears and you don't see it again until about May.
Yeah, we saw that when you were in that janky hotel.
Hey, that was the nicest hotel in town. I don't know, janky.
I was a little worried for you.
They have a pool there.
It was very sad, Maggie.
I know. It's the brown curtains. There's nothing good that comes from the brown curtains. Meanwhile, again, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. You hit subscribe. We donate to charity on your behalf. So we're getting into the giving spirit here at the Maggie and Perloff Show. Also, we've got an update for you on the big trade that happened overnight. All the details next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. Sensing some anger in the room, I'm going to be honest. Sensing some anger. Not because Andrew Bogus just walked in. Why is it you guys get frustrated with me that I do not live and die by every regular season game?
Yeah, okay. So
let's look big picture, people. Come on.
Here's where the fraudulent part of Perloff the fan comes in. Who's the Eagles' biggest rival?
Dallas Cowboys.
Who are they playing this week?
Dallas Cowboys.
What's on the line?
Nothing.
First place in the division.
First place in the division. Why do people still talk about divisions? Who cares?
Okay, sorry. Playoff seeding.
Because, playoff seeding, it's all about the number one seed. In this NFC, it doesn't matter if you're 2, 3, 4, or 5. Maybe home field, but first place, winning that division doesn't do anything.
Okay, well, it gets you closer to getting home field and to getting more home playoff games. And all of that together, all three of those things matter. Your rival, big game, things on the line that actually do matter for the playoffs. You're sacred. Nothing matters till we get to the playoffs. And yet you're claiming that you don't care about this. And it just seems so fraudulent.
I care, but I am realistic. Listen, NFL season is a long season. Guess who wins the Super Bowl every year? The team that mostly avoids injuries. Mm-hmm. So
not Mahomes last year. He was limping around, beat your team.
There you go.
You said something last segment about this is a snapshot of right now. Yes, it's a snapshot of right now, but you have to look bigger picture. Like, who is setting up well for the playoffs? Right now, there's a clear favorite in the NFL. By far, the San Francisco 49ers. So that's right now. But let's talk in a month. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I mean, I think you'd probably rather have more home playoff games than road playoff games.
Of course. But if they lose this game, it's not like, I'm like, well, there's no reason to even watch the playoffs. It's over. Of course not. It's just one game in a regular season. It's like the NBA. Load management, baby.
Not exactly. Nate's in Pomona, California. Hey, Nate. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Thursday.
Same.
If you think anyone is better than the Niners in the NFL, you're kidding yourself right now. When they're healthy, they are hands down the best team in the NFL. The Cowboys have no significant wins. The Eagles completely collapsed. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, but there's no other team that can beat them.
If they're healthy, Nate, come on. You've watched this team. You're out in California. They've been very talented for a long time. And how many rings do they have?
Oh, that's Jimmy G, though. Come on.
Oh, Jimmy G's the problem now.
And now Brock Purdy's the answer.
No, I get what Nate's doing there. Nate, thank you so much for the phone call.
Well, I think honestly,
Jimmy G was holding them back.
Last year was the injuries too, and that's the thing. They're a very physical football team. Christian McCaffrey, you've said it. You've been very consistent on this. You think he's one of the best players ever, but there's a big but. The guy can't stay on the field consistently.
Well, and I also think he's more the MVP of the team than Brock Purdy, but that's a whole other thing. Purdy is a good quarterback, definitely good enough to win you a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's the MVP until Debo has a Debo game, and then Kittle's the MVP, and then the defense is the MVP. There are a lot of MVPs there.
The only one thing, Baltimore. Baltimore, when they're full strength, defense full strength. But the 49ers are the best team.
That always happens. Baltimore, in the last quarter of the season, Baltimore's never had injury problems.
How about James is in Modesto? Hey, James, how are you?
Hey, good morning, guys.
How you doing?
Good. I'm heading up to Oregon, getting ready to pound through this snow up here.
Oh, man. How much snow do you have?
There's supposed to be a little bit of snow, a little bit higher than me, but I'll be getting a little bit, but it'll be all right. I'll throw some chains on and get on over there and get back to the family.
All right. Well, drive safely.
Oh, yeah, always. Anyway, both you guys are making good points. I got a lot of Cowboy fan friends and a lot of Eagle friends. The Cowboy fans, they seem to be more adamant about winning this game than the Eagle fans. Like Perloff, everybody's just kind of laid back, just letting the chips fall. They're not as excited about, having to win this game. But it is, seriously, you got to get that home field advantage because that's funny, you threw that out there. San Francisco is not – it's going to be a different game in Philadelphia if you can get that home game because the weather's going to be a lot different, And, you don't want San Francisco. San Francisco don't want to play Philadelphia in January. That's for sure. They want to get them in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But, that's funny, But,
James,
I just thought I'd call in and say hey. And,
hey, James,
Raiders.
Are you anywhere near, is this pronounced Hoodoo Ski area? The Hoodoo Ski?
Hoodoo Ski? You mean Siskiyous?
I'm trying to, thank you, James. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you there. Safe travels to work and back. I was trying to figure out where is it snowing in Oregon today?
Yeah, I didn't know. Oregon does not get a lot of snow, as I recall.
Well, I'm looking at right near the Willamette National Forest, which I'm sure is gorgeous, close to kind of Bend, Oregon, if you will, in between Portland and Sun River, as one does.
Barry, James, smart man. Philly fans letting chips fall where they will. Dallas has it circled. To me, the loser energy is to act like a regular season game means anything. That is like, if Dallas really is bragging if they win this game, it's going to come off as a weakness.
No, I don't think it's bragging. They got to show they can win a big game.
But this doesn't show you can win a big game. This shows you can beat the Eagles in Week 14. They got to beat San Francisco in the playoffs.
What do you think happens if
Goliath.
Dallas loses by 3 touchdowns?
Nothing. They're going to face San Francisco. They're going to be. I told you a million times. They're going to be 12-5, and they're going to face San Francisco in the second round. It's happened the last 3 years, or basically, it's going to happen this year. That is their test. This is not their test.
I think we should be skiing in Oregon, is what I took away from that. Hung is our pal in Harrisburg. Hung, you've got a thought on the AFC playoff picture.
Oh yeah, happy snow day. We got a little bit of snow over here this morning too. But anyway, let's go to the main point. I'm a Raven fan.
Yeah.
And the big tackle we got to face every year is the Kansas City.
Yep.
And you guys talk too much about Cowboy and Eagle. Cowboy not go nowhere. Trust me. The Eagle got a chance. 49er got a chance. Raven got a chance. But you got to win a championship. You got to go to Kansas City. Kansas City, people forget they got 5 AFC championship games straight and 3 Super Bowl appearances. So you got to win championship. You got to go through Kansas City. And let me tell you, I'm a Ravens fan. I need to beat the 49ers coming up, the biggest game of the season, regular season, 49ers Ravens. I got the Ravens win by 3.
There we go. All right, Hung, love it.
That's a good point. Are we not talking about the Chiefs enough because they keep losing games? They are sort of still out there. It's kind of like when you were a Bills fan and the Patriots were still out there.
Yeah, I guess here's the thing. It's like, is this going to be the first year in a long time where the AFC doesn't run through Kansas City? And what is that going to mean? Because it might run through the Ravens. And
yeah,
for Hung's Baltimore
might
Ravens.
run through Miami, too.
Might run through Miami. And I still think that Kansas City can win a playoff game, can win the AFC Championship or whatever on the road. But it would be fascinating to see for the first time in what do we say, 5 years, that it would not run through Kansas City.
I think Baltimore looks great, but they have this crazy schedule at the end of the year. So they're going to have to be nearly perfect to get home field. So for some reason, I don't see the AFC title game in Baltimore. I see that on the road too. And especially San Francisco. I want to bet Hung. San Francisco was designed to chase Lamar Jackson. I think in San Francisco, to me, it's San Francisco and everybody else. It's the one team league right now.
Forgive me, I'm turning into Perloff here. I'm like, how much snows in Harrisburg today? It's less than an inch, but the chance of precipitation is 100%. You have completely rubbed off on me with your traffic and weather and all your sad dad stuff. Now I'm turning into you. Like, where is it snowing today? I got to know because it's not snowing here. Andrew Bogish is here. Good morning.
Sad dad stuff. I like the weather, too.
Oh, Bogish. I hate to inform. Am I breaking the news to you right now?
No, whatever, Maggie. I've got nothing in this room now. Lost Perloff early. Now you here.
I'm just stating the facts. If you are of a certain age and a certain place in your life, you may qualify to be a sad dad. Do you like listening to music from the 1990s?
Yeah.
Do you have children who basically are over 75% of your social life?
Ooh, close to it. I can't confirm over 75%. Push on that one.
Okay. Do you wake up? How many times a day do you check the weather?
Once.
All right. How many times a day do you check the traffic?
0.
Okay.
I don't drive anywhere that needs a traffic update.
Okay. How often do you check the train schedule?
I know
Every
the
5
train.
minutes.
I know the train schedule.
I see Bogish walking in the morning. He's a true commuter, by the way. He's the only one of us.
Oh, EJ takes the train.
Yeah, every now and then.
And Pete takes the train.
Every now and then.
No, Pete, you drive.
I drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pete took the train again for like 4 days and went back to driving.
Wait a minute. I'll admit I'm a sad mom. I told you guys about the holiday party that I walked into and everyone's just talking about their kids and the real estate market, and it was just great party, but conversation was kind of lacking. I'm owning up to it.
Yeah, and everyone's reaction is, what are you hearing about the real estate market? That's all I care about.
Yeah. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah, in suburban New Jersey. A lot, actually. You don't think you're a sad dad?
Sad seems strong.
Results are in. You are not a sad father.
All right.
It's like Maury. Does he get to do a couple backflips?
Yeah. You got to run around. You got to run around the studio and just jump up and down and be excited.
There you go. You're not the father.
All right. I'll take it. Small victories. So they traded a lot for Juan Soto 2 summers ago. They made the playoffs that fall, then suffered through a disappointing season this year. And now the Padres are trimming payroll, so Soto leaving town instead of signing a long-term extension. He and fellow outfielder Trent Grisham going to the Yankees for reliever Michael King, young righties Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, and Drew Thorpe, and catcher Kyle Higashioka. Soto still needs that new contract. He is expected to reach the open market next winter, no matter what. The Orioles adding closer Craig Kimbrell yesterday, while Arizona reportedly signs lefty starter Eduardo Rodriguez 4 years and $80 million.
So that's good for all you Yankee fans out there, because Craig Kimbrell can never win anything anymore. He's the worst closer I've ever seen in my life. Just a little Phillies comment there.
The Phillies, though, losing those games in the playoffs didn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't matter at all because no one expected them to win.
You don't care about Craig Kimbrell.
You would love Craig Kimbrell.
Right. Should have brought him back.
I mean, honestly, I don't know anything about managing baseball. Even I knew not to put him in those games. That was a total disaster. But honestly, if you think you're going to get to me with a Phillies loss, come on, guys. Come on. I'm like the rest of America. Baseball, try harder.
Ty Lue thinks his Clippers are figuring things out.
Tonight, like I said, was really a big step in the right direction. You know, a team that beat us 8 in a row, and we struggled to beat. And just tonight was just a good game for us to just, you know, show that we're on track and going the right direction.
Sorry, just really quickly. I believe that Craig Kimbrell did get the final out in the 2018 World Series.
Yeah, but it's 2024 by the time he's an Oriole.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
I think 2023 was the concern.
But I guess to slander Craig Kimbrell like he wasn't ever good.
I think he was good until he wasn't this year, too. Like, they got him for a reason, and the only problem was at the end, which was inevitable. They were never going to win the NL, so it's really not his fault.
It's just like this is the up and down of relievers. Anyway, he is a World Series champion. Back to the up.
He's washed. I just know, he's done. He will
All-star.
screw the Orioles over.
Well, I was confused. Wasn't there a closer last year, some like 23-year-old guy that threw 100 million miles an hour, and they loved him? He was an all-star, and now they're replacing him with Kimbrell? So
he got hurt.
He got hurt.
Tommy John.
Okay, good. Thanks for asking.
And back to the up.
Thank yourself. You don't want to ask.
Yeah, I mean, it's the offseason.
Whatever happened to that guy? They got Tommy John surgery.
Batista, right?
That's the story of baseball in a nutshell right there.
If he was on the Aaron Rodgers method, he'd be back by spring training.
Maybe he will be.
None of these injuries matter anymore.
I believe that was right at the end of the regular season.
Yeah, it's Felix Batista. He's out, Tommy John surgery. It was unfortunate because I think he would have maybe been a factor in the playoffs. Who knows? But
maybe I was out that day.
Maybe.
Ty
Lue. You're being a sad dad.
Ty Lue, by the way, pumped after a 111-102 home win over the Nuggets. They lost to Denver last week with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray not playing. Both were out there last night with Jokic going 9 for 32 from the floor. LA got 25 points from Paul George, 20 and 11 assists from James Harden. Joel Embiid, 50 points in the Sixers, 131-126 win in Washington. 40 points, 10 boards, 11 assists for Luka Doncic. The Mavs routed the Jazz 147-97. And Desmond Bane, a career-high 49 as the Grizzlies won in Detroit 116-102. The Piston losing streak is now 18. It's 15 for the Spurs. A 102-94 final in Minnesota. Here's Greg Popovich.
Execution was getting better all the time, but there's still too many mistakes, not enough habits, and we just keep working at that.
Victor Wembanyama with another flimsy double-double, 12 points and 10 boards.
Does Pop win another
loss.
title?
No.
We're talking about Belichick and the sliding doors if Brady had never left.
Here's another question. Is Nikola Jokic have his title? Is he done? 9 for 32? Is he's like, all right, I'm good. Is he
It's
basically
like the one bad game he's ever had?
Is he going to mail in the rest of his career now that he's basically won this title? Is he going to be like, now the new thing is NBA stars being one and done on the titles. Giannis will probably be one and done. Sorry. So, Jokic, 9 for 32. The true MVP showed up last night, Joel Embiid.
He's had 2 bad games this season, and after each one, you've said he's checked out.
Yeah, Jokic's numbers are better.
Definitely checked out.
They're better across the board in almost every category.
He does not care.
Oh, averaging 28 points, doesn't care.
He is not paying. He's not even paying attention. He doesn't even know who won the game last night. He was looking at. He's like calling
the game he was in.
He's calling his buddy in Serbian OTB, trying to get the results of race 4.
Yeah. Take your life in your own hands when you walk into a Serbian OTB.
Yeah, can you imagine?
It's not a place where you want to owe anybody money.
Do not eat the chicken tenders at a Serbian OTB.
Everybody at the Serbian OTB looks like Jokic's brother. They're all 6'8". They're all 300 pounds solid.
Same
muscle,
haircut for sure.
Tattoos, same haircut.
It's Serbia. I don't think they have an actual brick and mortar. It's just you can do this wherever you want at our horses. You just walk to a corner. You don't need a store.
It's a guy named Odb. It's like it's his house.
No, by the way, I'm sort of kidding about Jokic mailing it, but 9 for 32, that is stunning. I've never seen him miss a single shot. How did he go 9 for 32?
Didn't he still have like 15 assists and 10 rebounds?
Yeah, triple-double.
Rebounds? You already mentioned that.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But that is that's shocking to me. Sorry.
Plenty of QB news around the NFL yesterday. Trevor Lawrence and his ankle didn't practice, but playing in Cleveland Sunday apparently still possible. Zach Wilson is again the Jets starter, whether he likes it or not, and Josh Dobbs remains Minnesota's starter for at least one more week, despite 6 turnovers in their last 2 games, both losses. And speaking again about Kelsey's and Tush's, Taylor Swift discussed her real relationship with Trav in Time magazine while being named the Person of the Year. Tay-Tay was at Lambeau again last weekend. She doesn't care how many times she's on camera. She's just there to support her man. Quote, I have no awareness of if I'm being shown too much and pissing off a few dads, Brads, and Chads. Amen. Take that, Maggie.
I mean, shots fired at the Brads and the Chats.
And the sad dads.
And the sad dads, many of which are
line.
in this studio.
Look what you made her do.
Good one, B. You know, she talks really, like, the way she talked about Kelsey, that they were dating for months, she said, before she showed up at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
She said they didn't hard launch their relationship on a first date, which makes it sound like fake.
Right.
He uses that language.
Yeah, even talking about launches alone makes it suspect.
Taylor Swift talks about launches. So you guys think that this was all orchestrated for the clicks and likes, but you can't comprehend her deciding when they should announce their actual relationship?
Well,
that's implausible to
actually
you?
announce it.
Well,
by showing up
her
together.
showing up.
Right, no, but it wasn't like, oh, it's official, we're dating, or no statement. They didn't do anything. She just showed up at a game and walked awkwardly next
which
to
is the
Tyler
trigger.
Kelsey.
Everyone's freaking out about them being together. Of course, they're going to put a press release out, but that was them launching their relationship.
That was getting the boat in the water.
Yeah, them walking awkwardly into a car as if they'd never seen each other was a hard launch.
See, that's the thing. It did look like they had never really met before when they were walking out. But listen, new relationship, I guess, is a little awkward.
And they thought they were getting out in private. And then there were people there in the hallway, too.
Yeah, they're surprised there were people who were interested
in an NFL stadium. They're surprised. There were people with
honestly,
cameras.
the person who shot that video was Walter Payton's son, Jarrett. It's not like it was paparazzi.
Oh, I know.
Someone who is also famous in his
so
own right.
random, though. That Jarrett Payton. Hey, are you guys okay with Taylor winning? You've had a 24 hours to think about it. I'm totally fine with Taylor winning Time Person of the Year.
So I read the article, and it's interesting, but it's a lot of Kanye and Kim. You know, it's a lot of old grudges, but it's a lot of it's a lot of old grudges, and also I don't care what people think about me, which is always a little tough to stomach in the same article. However, I didn't realize exactly the extent that her tour created an economy.
Wow, yeah.
It's like a LeBron James effect a little bit, right? LeBron in Cleveland and what he did for, that area around the stadium, and how I didn't realize exactly what the boom was. So here was one line from the article. When she went to go play her shows in Phoenix, Phoenix and the surrounding city, hotels, restaurants, all that stuff, saw more money from that than the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Right. And again, all these things happened before Travis, and you think she needs Travis Kelce for something.
No. Oh, sorry. This is the other thing she said. When Travis called her out on the New Heights podcast, she thought that was, quote unquote, metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's so lame.
And
what? And my daughter is so judgmental of Taylor Swift. She's like, she's the lamest mom joke.
I mean, even that Brad, Chad, Dad thing was the corniest line ever.
I mean,
it works, but it's just like, oh, gosh.
I mean,
really?
listen, if we're looking for cutting edge hip, Taylor Swift is not where you turn to.
Well, okay, guys. I mean, let's be not judge her so much. She's like $1 billion industry.
Yeah,
you got to have mass
star.
appeal.
Oh,
Yeah, she's a pop star.
There's corniness that goes with popularity.
Yeah, 100%.
Corny. There's a lot of,
She's laughing all the way to the bank.
Of course. She didn't have a cool summer.
I didn't look at Pete.
Show's over.
Wait, did you
See
say
you guys tomorrow?
Cruel Summer?
Yeah.
Is that she has a song? She has a version of Cruel Summer?
Yes.
Like the Bananarama song?
That's the better song, but yeah.
The Bananarama song is better.
That's an iconic song, right? Cruel Summer. What's her version? Sing it, Pete.
I have no idea. I just know that's the name of the song.
By the way, Kanye West has an album called Cruel Summer.
Oh, okay.
So there's more Kanye. Taylor Swift.
But I agree with EJ. The more popular you get, the more corny you are by definition. That's the way the world has always worked.
You kind of have to, because you have to relate as many people as possible, and we're all cornballs. America.
Yeah. To appeal to America.
America.
You can't be super deep and cutting edge. It's impossible. It won't sell all these tickets.
Too much nuance?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't know, give me a cutting edge indie rock star or whatever. They're not going to sell out all these stadiums. You have to be like Bruce or Taylor Swift. Just hit him in the head.
Bruce.
Yeah.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Yeah, she's the Time Person of the Year. Talking about the Kelce's.
And in a great real relationship.
When
Happy for the
Kelsey
two
said,
of them.
I was a little butthurt that she wouldn't talk to me before the show. And she was like, that's the man I want to marry. 855
A true love story.
There you go.
Heartless people.
Thank you, Andrew Bogish. Coming up, speaking of attention, Deion Sanders had something to say about all the attention he's gotten in college football at Colorado. We get to that in a minute. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Guard who was in the wrong, by the way. There's other ways to get in the good graces of the public than apologizing to the security guard who was in the wrong, by the way. Why is Dre Greenlaw apologizing? The security guard shouldn't have been anywhere near him. He's an actual player, and this guy is just like a poncho wearing, like he's wearing a windbreaker over there. Get out of here.
This Big Dom's good people. I don't know what these are two good dudes.
He's a great guy who just involved himself with a play in a massive game in the NFC.
You can say whatever I don't care what you say about Dre Greenlaw, but if you're going to come after Dom, then I just trust your judgment and character. Because have you ever heard a bad word about Big Dom?
I've never heard a word about him, period. I know who Dre Greenlaw is because he's an amazing player. Not the same. There's other ways to get in the good graces of the public.
One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
back to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio. Just because their season may be over doesn't mean we've forgotten about our Daily Dion.
Daily.
Do you believe that?
Dion.
You believe that?
This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. Dion Perloff giving an interview where he said this, quote, "You always wish that you had a little more privacy, but the same thing that makes you shine will show your blemishes." Deion Sanders preaching for privacy to People magazine. People magazine has this exclusive interview with Deion Sanders where he's asking everyone for more privacy while also announcing that the episodes of the Hard Knocks style YouTube show that they have will continue to stream.
Wow. Yeah, it's funny. Just the fact that he's in People magazine, I think you might be implying this shows you he is not this little
outlet.
He's not the most
People
low-profile college coach. Yeah, I don't think People magazine is profiling Mike Elko next week.
I think Bronco Mendenhall is getting an exclusive in People magazine.
There are not a lot of college coaches that get in People magazine. Now, I do. Okay, when I first read this headline, I immediately laughed. I'm like, he's the opposite of this. But I'll bet you, after all that attention was probably a lot less fun when he started losing games. So that was probably a genuine thought. And Deion is a straight shooter. It's like, man, early in the season this was fun, but don't you think he does I wish everyone wasn't here right now? I get that. I think that often.
Yeah, well, you know what? You can't solicit everybody and, hey, come look at me. And then as soon as you want them to go away, they go away. It's not going to happen.
If Deion could engineer that, I'll bet you he would love it.
So his quote, he said, it was crazy early on when they started 3-0. He said, then it all calmed down to a halt. We're going to show you how we dealt with that adversity. It was tough because I've never lost pretty much in my life. And in the last several years of my life, 10 years, a decade, I'm a darn winner. So dealing with losses was tough.
Yeah. You know the funny thing about Deion, and I've said this before, about 8 years ago, he was at the NFL. He was a big deal, but he was just another NFL analyst. This Deion, I never would have pictured him 8 years ago being the Sportsman of the Year this year. This is still an incredible journey. Even
it's like a second act.
It's a second act, but he had a long stay at the NFL Network where he was just one of many voices, right? He wasn't Deion. Then he reminded us all. So this, to me, it's the most fascinating. What's the third act going to be? How does he follow up next year? I got to tell you, I'm watching every Colorado game.
You have to.
Yeah.
I mean, also because, you know, and maybe it's sour grapes. It probably definitely is sour grapes. But like he's had other coaches who anonymously came out in the Athletic, said it's going to be year 2 is going to be a lot harder than year 1. Like he's kind of getting dunked on a little bit by other coaches. Again, anonymously, it's cowardice. But that he's had decommits from the transfer portal. Like Shador now has a back injury because he got sacked so often. Like there's a lot here.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, and I pointed this out to you the other day, their schedule gets a lot easier. He happened to be coming to the hardest Pac-12 of all time. He was going up against Bo Nix and Michael Penix and
Caleb Williams.
All these guys and Caleb Williams, and then they lost games to Stanford. The Big 12 is going to be easier. It's not going to be super easy. I think there's a lot of good teams in the Big 12, but he should be able to get past 4 wins, I think.
Okay, but think about it. Now he could go to a quote-unquote easier conference to win. But with the college football playoff expanding to 12 teams, you're going to have a lot of people who are going to say that's the expectation. Now, that might not be fair, but it's like these 12 spots opened up and it feels like the floodgates open.
I think that he lowered it to in 3 years, he's got to make that big final 12. I don't think next year he has to make it. I think when they were 3-0, we all thought, oh, they're going to be in the playoff maybe this year. So I would hope, and do you really think that's going to be the expectation? I would hope people say in 3 years you got to be in.
Where will he be in 3 years, though? Like, again, that's all the whole thing that comes along with this second act for him.
I mean, it's going to be hard for him to make it this year. And, you know, it's going to be hard for him to replace his son, who part of this is he has an incredible quarterback, and those do not come along that often.
And linebacker with Shiloh, who's also coming back.
Yeah.
Right? See, linebacker, safety, whatever.
Yeah, safety. Linebacker. Yeah.
So,
but, again, this is a lot of fun. He ain't getting privacy. That's just not happening with Deion Sanders.
Preaching for privacy in an interview with People magazine is quite something. If that's not Deion Sanders, I don't know what is. Coming up, tonight, a must-win game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll get to that in a minute. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He thinks Frisbee golf is the sport of the future. She's sticking with football. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. People say tonight's NFL game is going to be bad. That's not true. Well, I have no idea how the game's going to go. But there are stakes in this game, Perloff. We want to poo-poo it, say the score is going to be like 3-0. There are stakes, at least on the Pittsburgh Steelers side in the immediate, because they are in a playoff hunt, despite the fact they're now playing with a backup quarterback. And for the Patriots, they got to keep losing. If you want to get a shot at one of the top 2 picks and hopefully set your franchise up to find, the next great quarterback, like there's a lot on the line here tonight.
Yeah, but I understand that's all true, but there is something very depressing about this game because it's 2 of the most poorly coached offenses you've ever seen. The talent on Pittsburgh to be this bad on offense is insane.
No, you're right.
Mitchell Trubisky is not Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He's been in the NFL forever. So I don't want EJ to win tonight.
EJ?
Yes, because EJ is the America's #1 proponent of the NBA in-season tournament.
Wait a minute.
I do not want the in-season tournament to be more entertaining than tonight's Thursday night football game.
I think Adam Silver is the #1 proponent of the tournament. EJ's not even making any money
EJ's
off
the
of
#1 proponent, I know. But I just think it's funny that the NFL is, in a sense, putting up their worst game, and the NBA has this other thing. Like, it's a test. I hope it doesn't end up, this is a test of NFL fandom, being, can we gut our way through this? I just don't want that kind of game, Maggie.
Well, I thought you were going to say this is sad, not because the offenses are poorly coached, even though you're 100% right, but also because these are 2 franchises that at one point, doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but maybe it was, who were 2 of the most feared. I mean, between the Patriots and Steelers, like those are the 2 teams you never wanted to meet in the postseason.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, maybe this Pittsburgh team would be tricky in the postseason because their defense is great. But, yeah, there's something that makes it even sadder. If this was, the Panthers against the Bears. Titans. Yeah, Panthers, Bears, it would just be bad football.
Yeah, we got that a couple
That's such a good
ago.
point. There's something even worse about it being Steelers and Patriots and bad football. The Chargers, the 6-0 Patriots game, that's a low for the NFL. Even for this year of replacement quarterbacks, that was particularly bad. If that happens tonight, Maggie, I'm going to come in tomorrow morning sad.
Well, why don't you just watch the in-season tournament?
No, that's never going to happen.
Tyrese Halliburton's probably going to lead the Pacers to 150 points, and they'll probably still lose to the Bucks. It's going to be fantastic.
You love scoring.
I do love scoring. Yeah, tomorrow we should come in and evaluate which game was better. There's 2 games tonight, right, for them?
Yeah, it's 2 games. So you got the Eastern Conference game, you got the Pacers and Bucks, then Zion and the Pelicans versus the Lakers, LeBron and them.
Man, I appreciate the NBA. They're starting one of these games at 5. It's like they're doing it for us. It's like for everyone who hosts morning shows across the country. Thank you, NBA.
Morning shows, sad dads, everybody having a good time at the NBA.
855-212-4CBS. Must win here for Pittsburgh. Not the only team this weekend with a must-win game, and that's also the Dallas Cowboys. Now, is it must-win like an elimination game? Obviously not. But as much as you can have a must-win game in a regular season game, it feels like that for Dallas, and they're going to be doing it with their schedule clearly disrupted this week because Mike McCarthy had to undergo appendectomy, get his appendix out, and even if that's a small procedure and knock on wood, everything goes fine, he's going to be fine, he'll be back for the game. When you're leading up to this big game, the knock on the Cowboys is that they haven't beaten a good team yet. Even though their offense is gangbusters and the defense is ferocious, they haven't beaten a good team yet. This is not what you want. You don't want this kind of disruption with your head coach heading into the biggest game of the year right now.
Yeah. First of all, I don't agree that it's must-win for the Cowboys because unfortunately for them, they're pinned behind the San Francisco 49ers. It's going to be very hard for them to pry away the #1 seed. So that means they have a trip to San Francisco in their postseason future, which we know is haunting them. That being said, I do think they have every advantage in this game with or without Mike McCarthy. Basically, the Eagles are struggling defensively in a huge, huge way. Cowboys, like you said, are piping hot on offense. They really should be able to control the game. They've been very good at home. There's no excuse for the Cowboys. I do agree. There's no excuse for the Cowboys not to win this game. But my take, and I know you guys don't like this, if the Cowboys do win, do not hold a parade for the Cowboys.
No.
They still have a lot of work ahead of them. They can win this game, and it doesn't, to me, mean that much.
No, but you have to have these like little, I think it's good
Why?
to have these little tent posts throughout the season because
It's based on what? What metric is there that says these 10 posts make any difference? They've been 12-5 the last 2 years.
I know, but it's like, don't you want to go into the postseason thinking back and saying, here was our signature win. Here was a moment when we were backs against the wall and we won. I'm not talking about that Charger game on Monday night after they lost to the 49ers.
Yeah.
I'm talking real, like, hey, when the going got tough, we proved to ourselves that we can do this. Right now, you have a blowout loss to San Francisco, and you have a close loss that you probably should have won on the road against Philadelphia. That's not like an institutional knowledge, I think, of saying it's going to be different this time around in the postseason.
I just think you have the same team as you did last year, and they came up short in last year's postseason.
It's not the same. Different play caller.
Oh, come on.
Because of McCarthy.
It's different. Same head coach. It's not that different. You're saying this is a different Cowboys team because Kellen Moore is there. It's the same team. I don't think anything they can do on Sunday is going to erase the memory of what happened last year against the Niners or what happened the year before against the Niners. I do think nothing that they can do in this regular season is going to prepare them for the playoffs because they do, of all the teams in the NFL, they have this label that they are postseason failures. And I don't think this win is going to change that at all.
We want to hear from you. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227, and also update our poll question, which is what, EJ?
So we have two. So first, we're talking about the Cowboys here. So we asked, with Mike McCarthy having the appendix surgery, will McCarthy missing time this week impact the Cowboys on Sunday? So 29% say yes. 70% say no.
Okay.
So most of the people out there think that this will not have an impact. Also, we debuted the multiverse of Maggie and Perloff, where we come up with different alternate universe realities and of things that are happening out there in the world of sports. So today we came up with what would happen if Tom Brady would have never left New England. 40% say the Patriots win another Super Bowl. 59% say the Patriots' decline continues.
Interesting. We're not even going to talk about what happens to Tampa Bay in this scenario. but
Tampa Bay, it's like, well, if you never had it, you never lost it.
For two reasons, I strongly feel that they wouldn't not have won. One, the rise of the Chiefs would have been a big factor, which was already a big, they lost that year to the Chiefs. Oh, no, sorry. They didn't
beat them
in
overtime.
Right, but they beat them in overtime in 18 to get the Super Bowl. Then 19, they didn't even get to the Chiefs in the playoffs. I feel it's unlikely that they would have been able to knock them out. And secondly, who was Tom Brady throwing to? And you think that there was some savior out there. They never bring in big receivers. That's their thing. Bill Belichick twice has brought in good receivers.
Listen, if Antonio Brown had been able to mind his P's and Q's, which I know would have been very difficult at that point, Tom Brady lobbied for Antonio Brown to come to the Patriots, right? And eventually then go to Tampa. Like, Tom Brady, I think, would have ripped off another Super Bowl had he stayed because
if Antonio Brown had stayed, or if Tom Brady had stayed?
If Tom Brady had stayed, I think you saw that he was able to throw his weight around a bit to get receivers in the building. You think that Bill Belichick wanted Antonio Brown? No, that was Tom Brady said, come live at my house. Like, he still would have, I think, been able to find another receiver so it wouldn't have looked so bleak. The run game's always actually been pretty steady for New England. That really hasn't been a problem. And you never would have had this nonsense with Joe Judge and Matt Patricia and this, crap offense. If anything, Josh McDaniels probably just stays if Tom Brady stays and they, continue like the Tom Brady excellence.
Yeah, but the trend was headed down. And it's not just that, it's the body language and everything. I think Brady was over everything New England by 2019. And I think that matters in the sense that what all of a sudden he was going to find new life there. Like, what was going to inspire him to lead this terrible offense?
Well, that would have been the thing, right? Because if you did want to stay together, then it would have had to be like a lot of what the end of Brady and Belichick was the ego stuff. It was Alex Guerrero, the TB12 stuff, Brady never getting credit, in the eyes of Belichick, him still treating him like that 6th-round draft pick and all of that. If they were going to stay together and finish this thing out together, there would have had to been a bit of a compromise. And I think that Robert Kraft would have stepped in. And I think Robert Kraft probably kicks himself now that he didn't step in because they basically waved goodbye to Brady and gave Belichick full free reign, and look at what's happened.
Yeah. One more question about this Brady situation.
Yeah.
Is it possible in this scenario that Belichick has actually been losing his fastball? The fact that the New England Patriots are a hot mess on special teams this year says to me, ooh, this is not a Bill Belichick team. So are we sure Bill Belichick is a good enough coach to help Tom Brady win a Super Bowl in the year 2020? I mean, it's possible he's declining. I know he lives in your head rent-free for life because you're a Bills fan.
Of course.
But everything has been pointing downward in New England. He did get the team to the playoffs with Mac Jones, but generally, I don't think that Belichick can do the Belichick thing anymore.
Okay, well, I don't know, because let's see if he had a competent quarterback. Like, he had a competent quarterback for 20 years, and look at what they did. They're a modern dynasty. So if he had a competent quarterback, I think that things might have been different. Listen, I can't defend his draft record. I can't defend him having his son on the staff. Like, I don't know if that guy's any good. And things like that are kind of annoying. But, you know, if he still had Brady, who still wants to win at a high level, like they're pointing out, Eric Rivera in the chat said, you know, Brady's the ultimate winner. Like, look at Tampa now.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same team, very close to the same team that he had outside a couple offensive linemen and Bruce Arians not being there, that he won the Super Bowl with.
Yeah, I mean, that team has gotten kind of old.
They got a little
fast.
older. Okay. But still, it's like they're falling off a cliff.
Yeah, no. But I think Brady was smart. I understand he was looking at other teams as well, but he saw the receivers in Tampa Bay, and they're almost the exact opposite of the receivers he had in New England. Like, can you imagine if Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were in New England, he'd be staying in New England. That's my point. That he saw the writing on the wall, said there's no weapons here, and there's no way to get them because they're not going to invest in a big time receiver. It's not their thing. They famously go young or they get guys off the scrap heap. So I think he knew there's no way to fix this offense. I think part of the reason he left was lack of talent.
So we got two things out there for you. Do you think it's a big deal or a deal at all that Mike McCarthy, because of having the appendicitis, that just disrupts the week for what is now the biggest game of the year right now? Since they lost that San Francisco game, now it's the biggest game of the year.
Yeah, well, you have the other Philly game.
Yeah, the other Philly game they lost. It's the third biggest game of the year. It's important, guys.
Until next week's Cowboys
the third
game.
biggest game, yeah, exactly.
It's a big one. Do we have the Ross Tucker cut? No. We'll get it for you. Do we have Ross? So Ross joined us earlier in the show. Ross Tucker, obviously, football mind. Is going to be calling Army-Navy this weekend,
awesome.
Which is really cool. We asked him if it makes a big deal. He obviously played in the NFL. Is it a big deal if Mike McCarthy's schedule is disrupted? He can't be in the building as much because of the appendix surgery. Here's what Ross said.
I would say it's a big deal either way, right? Like, even if he wasn't the play caller, which he is, and he's doing an outstanding job, you know, you still want to have that guy that's in charge of managing all of the timeout and whether or not you go for it, all of those situations, challenge, flag, all that stuff during a game. And they can give those duties to Fossil, the special teams coordinator, or Brian Sean. Like, they can give it to somebody else, but whoever they would give it to doesn't have nearly the experience in those same situations that McCarthy does, especially in like a gotta-have-it game that we expect to come down to the end.
I mean, the idea that it could get worse for the Cowboys in terms of end-of-game management
that's why that's a funny
scary.
Quote. Because that's sort of McCarthy's kryptonite is all those things he just said, and you have Dan Quinn there.
I know.
Who's
what if it gets
coached
worse?
a million games?
Yeah, but Dan Quinn's up in the booth. Like,
well, I would think
Quinn actually would be the head coach if he
couldn't.
Yeah,
and
go.
he's a very experienced.
But let's
head
be real
coach.
though. We talking about game management with Dan Quinn. I mean,
know.
what's he famous for?
Yeah.
28-3.
Yeah, no, good point.
Him and Kyle together,
that is a very good point. But it's the one coach, and it's not just that. The point that popped in my head was like, is Mike McCarthy an inspiring force? Do you need him to get the troops fired up? Because he seems, I don't know. I still don't totally understand what makes Mike McCarthy a great coach. Like, I know I see post-game locker rooms, and a certain Pete Carroll gets you all fired up, and Belichick has this strategic thing. I don't know what the magic of Mike McCarthy is. That's why I voted no, this will not have a big impact.
You voted. I voted yes.
Tilting the scales over here.
It will have an impact.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? Can you picture a Mike McCarthy hype speech? I just can't. I can't see it.
Listen, these guys, you get to a certain point, you get to this level, you've got to have tricks in the tool bag. The one guy I can't really see with the big rah-rah speech, now we're just taking a total left turn, What do you think Brandon Staley's pump-up speech is like?
Well, he's at least fiery at the media now.
At the
Mike McCarthy's
Get
never
mad at
fiery.
his team before? Get snippy?
I thought you were going to say Jonathan Gannon because we have actually seen him try to fire up his team, and that was
pew, 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 pew. Can you see Shane Steichen getting mad at anyone? That's never happened.
Did you guys notice this with Jonathan Gannon? So, coach of the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know if anyone can conjure what he looks like if you're just listening to us, but he was on the sideline for the Steeler game, obviously, where Arizona beats the Steelers last week, and the way he was wearing the belt of the headset, it looked like a fanny pack. And then he had the hat on and sunglasses. He looked like a tourist. He looked like a tourist who was touring Pittsburgh, and got lost. I was like, I'm sorry, is the Warhol Museum around here? He just couldn't get to the right spot.
Interesting.
I love it.
Check him out. He looks like a tourist.
I did note his sunglasses. Those are awfully dark for a
daytime
coach.
Game.
Yeah. I mean, I understand.
Rain game.
I'm fascinated by guys who wear sunglasses at night games. That's a thing now, right? We've talked about that before.
Players.
Look at any injured player has sunglasses on the sideline. Why? In indoor or at night?
Cool.
It's to look cool?
Yeah, because
is Gannon looking cool?
A sunglasses deal.
Gannon actually needs the sunglasses, right?
I don't know.
Because he's not cool. You're right. The dude is kind of nerdy. He cannot give a fire-up speech. I cannot picture that.
You know who else I can't picture, even though he did play in the league and was a good player, is Todd Bowles. He's so quiet and soft-spoken. Do you think that changes behind the scenes?
I get the sense he was a badass as a player, though.
But I think a lead-by-example guy, not a rah-rah guy.
Well, here's the thing about Mike McCarthy. When I think of Mike McCarthy, the first thing, this is totally unfair. He won a Super Bowl. The first thing that comes to mind is that he lied about watching every snap of every play in the NFL season in his interview. And he was so casual about admitting that he was lying. He just seems laid back to me. I don't know what it is.
The other part of that lie is you could tell that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones were finding out it was a lie at that very moment at a press conference with all the cameras rolling.
Yeah.
Stephen Jones laughs very awkwardly.
I think Mike McCarthy is doing well in Dallas because he can work with Jerry. He doesn't come off as this big presence. Jerry does not want another Bill Parcells in the building. He wants a laid-back guy. So I don't think of McCarthy as that guy, and that's why I think they're fine this week.
What do they say about
damn act together?
What do they say about politics? You can't have the vice president outshining the presidential
you don't
candidate.
want the bottom of the ticket to have too much electricity. I learned that on West Wing, Maggie.
There you go. Right?
I have a master's in politics from West Wing. But I think the Cowboys they're a veteran team. They have big leaders. Micah Parsons is a big leader.
Yep.
I do not want to hear a Cowboy excuse if the Eagles win this game that McCarthy was hurting because of his appendix. Come on.
855, yes.
Sorry, he runs the offense. I mean, that is not nothing.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, Dak's pretty veteran though. It's not a young quarterback.
No, I know, but still, you're talking about game planning for a team that has a ferocious pass rush, even though the rest of their defense is falling apart. Yeah. I think it's important to have Mike McCarthy there for this situation.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, the other thing too, Dak just played this team. I feel like this offense knows it. And to quote my friend Dak Prescott, "Here we go."
Is that what he sounds like?
Is that that sounded like my Boston accent?
He goes, okay. Can I try my Dak?
Than your Boston accent.
He goes, "Yeah, here we go." No.
I don't think so.
What do you guys think it sounds like?
Sounds like Grover.
Well, that's Mahomes. Mahomes sounds a lot like Grover.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pull this sound for the next segment. Dak sounds exactly like that. You're not going to know which is me and which is Dak.
All right.
Here we go.
Challenge accepted.
We'll see on the other side. You can hear and play along with us. 855-212-4CBS. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're back on Maggie and Perloff, and you know what? It's been a while since we've had a great NFL cadence. Not since Omaha and Peyton Manning has any cadence taken over the NFL like Dak Prescott yelling, "Yeah, here we go."
Yes! Here we go! Here we go! Here we go!
Yeah, that's not that far off from what I said. Wait, do you have a recorded what I said last segment? You guys said I wasn't even close.
Yeah, here we go!
Yeah, that's almost identical.
Sounds like
Here
Cookie
we
Monster.
go!
All right, play the Dak
Here we
again.
go! Yes! Here we go! 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 Yeah, here we go!
No? No? So the fascinating thing about this is, I don't know if you guys remember, it was the Seahawks game in Week 13 where all of a sudden America goes, wait a second, Dak Prescott's yelling, "Here we go," before every play. And I guess the length of how he says "yeah" and how he says "go" is how guys know when the snap's going to be. I love this.
Yes, this is why Aaron Rodgers said that he's playing the best football of anyone in the NFL, basically, or a paraphrase, because he's cracked this code on cadences, and it symbolizes that he's taken his game to the next level.
Yeah, but it's so weird. Here we go. I mean, that is...
Is Hut Hut Hike not available?
Yeah. On 3? What happened to On 3?
I still don't understand the clapping that the college guys do.
I gotta be
How do you
honest.
hear that when there's 80,000 people?
So the big controversy this week was the Packers-Chiefs game. The Packers defender who got the key interception in the fourth quarter said that he saw the sign from Patrick Mahomes hitting his knee. And that caused a game-winning interception, basically.
Yeah.
Mahomes said he's never used that sign before. It's never been on tape, and that it's not even one of their signs. So Mahomes completely said that was a lie.
Huh.
So there's a science and a battle between the defense and the offense that we do not have privy to.
Yeah, I
but
know.
now we do because I can do the cadence.
Yeah, here we go. Go.
No?
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to admit, on the list of Perloff impersonations, that is not the worst one I have. That's in fact that's towards the high end.
That's really saying more about your Cam Smith impersonation than it is about anything else.
Yeah, here we go.
We wonder why you never became an NFL quarterback.
Yeah. NFL quarterbacks, even the most mild-mannered interviews, they get out there and they're screaming their heads off.
You got to.
Andy Dalton is one of the quietest people on the mic of all time. He gets out there, he's barking like General Patton.
He's got to save his voice.
Yeah, and Jared Goff, how does Jared Goff, you ever seen him yell at anyone? He gets up to the line and it's booming.
No, you got to have the deep voice because everyone's got to be able to hear you in the stadium.
Or you have to go to hand signals, and that's a mess.
Man, that's funny about the Mahomes thing. 855-212-4CBS. Perloff and Dak Prescott, same.
I think Mahomes is lying about that.
I think he's lying too. I think he got caught on
Connor
tape.
Stallions in the building? Like, how are they getting the signs then?
Yeah,
no, they just watch tape.
Right, and I think that he doesn't want people to think that this is a sign that I'm using or anything I'm doing at the line with my knee means a certain play. So it makes sense for him to lie.
Oh, right, for future.
Right. Yeah. So maybe obviously he's not going to use that sign again, but there may be a different sign. Maybe he taps his elbow, and people are like, oh, well, last week he said that was nothing, so we're not going to ignore. Like, it makes sense for Pat Mahomes to keep the bit going.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, if they're stealing signs at college football, can you imagine what they're trying to do in NFL?
Yeah,
trying
it's called
to break
Spygate.
Well, but forget Spygate, forget all that, and they're watching all the tape and they're trying to figure out what the signs are. I imagine because the defense. Did you ever hear stories about Ray Lewis knew the plays of the other team just by being smart? And I'm not saying cheating at all. Like, you got to get an idea of what's happening.
No, who was the quarterback? It might have been Rodgers. This just seems like something Rodgers would do, where he was pointing out to the defense, no, you've got to be here. Like, I know your defense better than you know your defense.
Of course. There's so much prep.
Speaking of Rodgers, do we have the clip for Rodgers, EJ? Okay. Let's can I hear? Okay, this is something that kind of fell through the cracks of the Aaron Rodgers' latest interview on McAfee. All of the stuff was basically about the Jets and a little about Jordan Love or whatever. But he said something, guys, about his gift-giving style, which I thought was kind of appropriate for the holidays. So he was talking about the type of gifts that he gives to the offensive linemen, the coaches specifically in the quarterback room, and all of that. And this is his style.
When it's the first year that Matt's staff came in, they weren't aware of kind of how I do Christmas, like gifts for the QB room, because it's pretty extensive. And I didn't tell them just because it's sometimes more fun, like when you kind of shower people with gifts and they give you like a little puzzle or something. Like, thanks. It's great. Puzzle matters.
Okay.
I love puzzles. I do. They're great. Yeah, fantastic.
So this is Rodgers' style. When he said when Matt LaFleur's staff first came in, that they didn't know that he likes to shower everyone with gifts. So he gives these amazing gifts. They give him something small, and then he likes having that sort of like one-up on people. It's like a interesting psychology behind gift giving. Like you're giving the gift just because you want to one-up the other person and what they feel like they owe you. It's like a very odd thing.
Yeah, that does sound weird. I mean, there's probably a tradition where the quarterback has to get a super nice gift.
Offensive lineman, other
quarterbacks,
the
offensive
coaches,
lineman can give a little nothing to the quarterback. So remember Dan Marino? Oh, that was a commercial, actually. He used to give gloves out to his linemen.
The isotoners? You think he was really giving them to them?
Yeah, but there are all these famous stories of quarterbacks getting cars, right?
Like golf carts, buggies.
Golf carts, yeah,
watches,
all sorts of fancy
like
things. So that's interesting. You read that as a passive-aggressive.
Well,
power play by Aaron Rodgers.
I just think, does anyone else feel that way, that you like giving gifts that are so much bigger than what the person's giving you that it makes them feel uncomfortable?
No.
It's an odd thing, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, another odd thing.
Yeah, I don't like gift giving because of stuff like this. Because I want to give a kind of standard, nice gift to people, and then when you come up, you're an Aaron Rodgers saying, "Oh, here's a $500 watch" or something like that. It's like, come on, like none of my friend group, none of us have it like that. Okay, like let's keep it all, and that's why we kind of usually we have our limit of like $50, $60. Everybody gets kind of something similar, and we move on. Like to me. For Rodgers, you're talking about your coaching staff. Some of these guys are not making all that much money. Like I'm sure your quarterback coach is making what, 100,000, 200,000.
Who knows? Yeah.
Like you're gonna give this guy.
I would up that significantly.
I was gonna say 650,000, but sure.
Okay, but Aaron Rodgers is making $30 million a year.
Yeah, right.
Like,
it's not the same.
Like it's tough for that quarterback coach to say, oh, the guy that I'm supposed to be actually coaching up, just gave me again a Lexus, and I got him,
a Starbucks gift card.
A puzzle.
It changed the whole dynamic. It's corny.
That's what I was thinking too. Wait, are we doing gifts around here? Do we want to do white elephant or something? $10 limit.
$10 limit on what?
$10,000 limit.
Oh.
I want a spaceship.
Why do we
want to get gifts for each other? Or no?
Why do we do what's it called, like a Yankee swaps, like some funny trade rules?
Yeah, white elephant, isn't that?
White elephant.
Oh, we call it a Yankee swap.
Okay.
What is a white elephant? So basically, though, you get the gift and you don't like it, and you get the other gift.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So it makes, not only do you get a gift, you get to make fun of the person giving you the gift.
And you can steal someone else's gift.
Yes. That's always a good laugh at the Perloff household. We do this every year. But I think $10 is probably a bit modest right now. I think we have to go up a little bit.
Well, I think I like $10 because then you got to get creative.
Okay.
What if we all of us wore wrestling singlets, got some of Pete's Colorado weed, and saw what happened in a room somewhere?
That's our gift to who? America? It's our gift
On
to the
YouTube.
world.
That'll be the next watch party. Forget the SEC championship.
It'd be funny if it was actually the day after the game. Like, we missed it. We meant to do the college football playoff, but we had no idea what day it was. Does someone want to watch a live? Oh, I don't know. Although we were encouraged to drink on our own live stream by one of our bosses.
Yeah, which is awkward for me because I don't drink. So it's just like, oh.
Most of us don't.
Yeah, I was like, oh. I'm out on this one.
It would have been an interesting live stream.
It's going to be all blondies here.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out to Bogish and Pete. Both say blondies. Thumbs up.
I never got mine.
Yeah. You were out of the building so fast.
I'm
I was
sorry.
like, well, yours went to Izzo, who also said thumbs up, by the way.
It was good.
Bad job out of me. Bogish has got some headlines because news is going on.
It is. But first, an offer from me to our listeners. Feel free to skip Thursday Night Football. Do something else tonight. I'll give you the lowlights in the morning. Unless you want to see Mitchell Trubisky try to be more aggressive as the Steelers fill in QB.
I'm trying to be aggressive, push the ball down the field, help this offense be explosive. I know I got to take care of the football. I'm just looking to be more efficient this week and execute well altogether. But I like to be aggressive, push the ball down the field, and we got to find ways to score points. So I'm trying to be that catalyst.
As you guys have mentioned, the over-under for Patriots Steelers is just 30 points, the lowest total since at least 1993. Pittsburgh running back Najee Harris expected to play after staying off the field this week with a knee issue.
Actually, isn't there another 30-point over-under?
Yeah, Cleveland, Jacksonville.
It's right at 30, though?
30.5.
Okay.
I think it was 30.5 last night. But they're having weather. I don't think this is a weather game, right?
No, this is a bad game.
Yeah, this is
it's like backup quarterbacks plus weather equals 30-point over-under.
I mean, every time Tom Brady sees these over-unders, he's got to be thinking, they called me a madman, right? He said the NFL is mediocre. People said you're crazy, and yet we have multiple 30 over-unders every week.
It's like the Oprah Winfrey meme where she just looks at the camera and like shrugs.
There you
go. The guy playing Jordan in quarters.
Well,
shrug.
I mean, EJ, you're a Jets fan, so you're seeing a lot of unders. A lot.
Betting a Jets under is the life hack of the century. Just
sit
back and get rich.
They can't get it low enough. I saw this week they're at 33.5 against the explosive Houston Texans. Texans are one of the best offenses in the league, and the total's 33.5.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that game in Houston?
No, it's in New York.
Oh, well, then it's the under.
More Aaron Rodgers when he said that whoever leaked the Zach Wilson's reluctant to play story is chicken bleep. That clearly is a knock on the organization unless you're Robert Saleh.
I don't think it's an attack on the organization, but I always appreciate Aaron's thoughts and comments.
What else is it then? Like there's ways to downplay it, but to say it wasn't him knocking the organization is just not true.
Well, especially when he's like, we got to find these leaks in the organization.
Right.
Yeah. I thought about something for Robert Saleh that we don't talk about enough. This guy, maybe he's just exhausted. He's got 7 kids, and he's the head coach of a NFL team.
Big time.
Like, I'm sure he's got a lot of help,
He seems like a great dude and a good dad as well.
Slow to
Based
anger.
on nothing.
Still friends with Beningo after Beningo ratted him out.
He might be a bad texter, though.
As far as Joe B's concerned, I'm just going to keep all that with myself and just move on from it.
Do you have any regrets, Robert?
No, I like Joe B. It is what it is, but just moving on.
Sorry to jump on you there, Perloff, but this is Robert Saleh having to explain why he texts our colleague Joe Beningo, who went on the radio this week here in New York and told us, I think the quote was, "Are you bleeping me?" or "No bleeping way," when Joe suggested Zach Wilson playing again. Why is FAN trying to take the Jets down? It's like the third different host-created Jets embarrassment this season.
Let me ask you a question, though, about Aaron Rodgers admitted. He said the leaks are a problem. And obviously, I don't think he was talking about Joe B. He was talking about the fact that everyone came out and said Zach Wilson didn't want to play.
Right.
So by Aaron Rodgers saying that confirms that the leak was absolutely true, that Zach Wilson didn't want to play. That's what struck me so odd about that.
So I was thinking about that. He was more upset that, first of all, that anything leaked, but that it was like a character assassination leak. So
but it confirms it's true.
He never said true or not true.
But it implies that they were dead on. Because if he's saying there was a leak from the building, he's saying it came from the building, so it was therefore true.
Yeah, but he also said that the part about him kind of calling Zach Wilson to talk him out of this and to say, hey, you got to play, he said that was completely made up.
Right.
Or not made up, but that was...
He said it never happened.
It never happened.
And so, if you argue your semantics, the report was that Wilson said he was reluctant to play. Not that he wasn't going to play, but people said
which is insane enough
not.
Already. Which is, what kind of NFL player is reluctant to play an NFL football game?
I wouldn't want to play either.
I think a lot of people understood because this organization, listen, he's been bad. Like there's nothing around that. And even Rodgers said, like the numbers say this is not very good.
I think he's a bum.
By a lot of that. But he also, like, this is a guy who's now been benched 3 different times. You said that you started Tim Boyle over him, who shouldn't even be in the building except for that he's a Rodgers friend. And now you're saying we're going back to Zach because he gives us the best chance to win. I'd be like, bleep you guys too.
No way. I think Zach Wilson's got to get on the field because this might be his last chance.
It's never going to get worse. It's only going to get worse from here. It can't get any better. That's why there's no reason for him to go out there.
Well, I just think they didn't want him to get hurt because they know his future's not with the Jets.
Right, exactly.
So he might have a shot somewhere else. Second overall picks generally will get a second chance.
First of all, he's 24 years old. He's going to be okay. He's not going to end his career here with an injury. I think he should just get out there and get more reps if I was him. I know it's going to look bad, but he might not get another game. I mean, Josh Rosen probably would have gladly played at the end of his last season.
So here's the thing. This is how far the Jets have fallen. This is how much of a joke they are. Zach Wilson may have been the most, like, I don't want to say hated, that's too strong, but like the most disappointing quarterback they've had in a while. And the Jets made him look like sympathetic. Like you could see his side of things. And this is someone who was a pariah 3 weeks ago.
I think anybody, I don't see it that way at all. I think any NFL player who doesn't want to come out on the field sounds super weak to me.
Yeah.
But this is where we're arguing what the intention of a statement that none of us heard.
Right.
If he just said, like, if someone was to him, like, hey, man, you might have to play again. He was like, I don't want to get my ass beat again.
Yeah, right.
Well, that triggers somebody to Rossini, reporting that. That's not him. That's just him being afraid of getting beat up by a bad offensive line again. It's not him going, I'm not playing.
Well, forget
it's a whole different level of statements.
I'm not saying whatever Zach Wilson did or didn't say. I'm just saying this idea that you guys understand Zach Wilson not wanting to play. To me, that's nuts. What kind of NFL player doesn't want to get on the field?
That's
in theory.
In theory, right.
Yeah, in theory, but we don't know if that's what he said.
Right, but you guys are saying that there are some situations where maybe it makes sense to not go on the field.
Well, you could see because the Jets have mishandled so much of this.
Right.
That
to me, though, I would say
disenfranchised with the organization.
Yeah, I would still say there's no excuse. There's never an excuse not to go out there.
Meanwhile, he's going to go out there.
Right.
So he's out there.
We'll stay in New York and happily tell you that the Yankees probably fleeced the Padres for Juan Soto overnight. Yes, the mid-20s all-world outfielder.
Cut that for next August when we're wondering, oh, my God, the Yankees made another terrible deal.
Because why? He stings, or because Michael King's going to be carving up the NL West?
Because pennants are not won in December, and everybody in the media thinks they are. This stuff never works out. Just say it. I want that on the record, too.
Which stuff never works out?
Signing big guys, like it's generally
Bryce Harper hasn't worked out for your Phillies?
He's the one guy.
Castellanos? How about him?
Come on.
Who?
Nick Castellanos?
Yeah, he's been terrible. Last year he couldn't hit the ocean.
What about Mookie Betts? Like, he hasn't helped the Dodgers? He definitely has.
Betts was a good one. Yeah. But this is not Mookie Betts. I just feel like this,
is it Bryce Harper? What about TJ Realmuto? I'm just going to run off the whole Phillies roster. What are you talking about?
Who here was super excited when the Padres signed Machado and got Soto?
Well,
Probably
they did
everybody.
make it to an NLCS.
What are you talking about?
I mean, come on. You think that already?
Come on.
What do you mean, come on?
Okay, I will bet you that Juan Soto does not win a World Series with the Yankees.
Because he's going to sign somewhere else after 1 year?
Yeah, I'm just putting the bet out there. You're so confident that this is such a fleece, a home run.
Man, this is a long-term one, but do we want to take the bet? Will Juan Soto win a World Series with the Yankees?
But no, the problem is he could be gone in a year. That's too big of a
I'm well aware
unknown.
of this, but it's such a home run.
But you're making the
in
case,
New
though,
York.
that it's not necessarily that he's going to be gone in a year. You're just saying that big signings don't work out.
It also,
I mean,
it's not really that.
I mean, the Texas Rangers won a World Series on the power of signing a bunch of big superstars.
It's really just living in New York and just seeing New York fans getting their hopes up every year in every sport and getting crushed. I just feel like this is going to be. I saw our former friend Sean Marash be like, "Oh my God, things are all coming up New York." I'm like, on what planet are you things coming up New York?
Wait,
things are coming up disappointing in New York.
Hold on, you said hopes getting crushed. Your team just lost a Super Bowl. They just lost an NLCS. They just lost a World Series. What are you talking about with New York?
I'm saying New York gets these big signings that fail some more. It's just
the Eagles win one Super Bowl in 5 years, and all of a sudden it's the sad sack New York guys. I mean, you guys lost a Super Bowl last year.
No, but that doesn't count.
I mean, come on. Do you think the state of New York sports is good right now?
No, first of all, I should point out I didn't sell my sarcasm enough because I don't want Juan Soto here, but he makes them better. And they traded nobody to get Juan Soto. For 1 year or 10, they gave up no one that they're going to miss. And they got Juan Soto. And they're better today than they were yesterday.
Okay.
Might not work. I hope it doesn't work. I hope it's a Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers level disaster.
Oh, boy.
But it's unlikely it's going to be that bad.
Yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of pressure in New York to sign the most expensive guy, and it doesn't always work out.
To be fair to the Yankees, which makes me sick to even say those words as a Mets fan, but like the issue has been that they really haven't been going after these kind of guys, you know,
or losing out on them when they went after them.
Right? They've been messing up, and their whole fan base has been like, why aren't we the evil empire? Why aren't we going after the big name free agents and big name trade assets? So like this is them kind of reversing course from something they've been doing where they've been basically shopping from the bargain bin.
Well, let's hold off for a second, though. They didn't pay Juan Soto yet. So they're trading for him because also that was they needed a good dance partner there with the Padres. And I would say this, I think it's always crap that people think the Yankees still don't spend. They still have one of the highest payrolls. They still have Garrett Cole reset the market. Stanton's contract. They just paid Aaron Judge. At the time, they gave DJ LeMahieu a ton of money. That has not worked out. Anthony Rizzo. It's not like it's a bunch of no names. It's just somehow they sign all these people and end up with no left fielder.
Right.
Like, I don't know how that happens.
But they also decided that they didn't need Bryce Harper when they could have outbid everybody for him. They couldn't trade for Verlander or Garrett Cole because they wanted to hang on guys like Miguel Andujar, who I don't think is even in the organization anymore.
Right.
That's what EJ is talking about, is now they finally actually got one of these deals done.
Yeah, they did.
Let me finish some housekeeping. Just a reminder, Jason Kelce is a non-sexy liar, and Dre Greenlaw is soft.
We just exchanged a formal apology just between me and John and some of the same people that we do know that in the building and stuff like that. So he seemed like a genuine guy, seemed like a guy that everybody loved in the building. So I hate that. Honestly, I really hate that it even escalated and went to that. That's never something I ever been a part of or seen in the game.
So instead of shanking Big Dom in a dark alley behind Geno's, the Niner linebacker is apologizing to
By the
the
way,
Eagles head of
if
security.
you think Dre Greenlaw of any player in the NFL is soft,
No, Maggie does.
He's got a wake up
Maggie
call.
called him
because
soft.
he's my point is he's so tough he could get away with this soft move because he's such a force on the field.
I'm saying leave it for the offseason. You're probably going to see the Eagles again, and they're no good head of security, Big Dom.
But he's not going to see him on the field.
No, Dom's going to be in the parking
The dude
lot.
doesn't play.
Which is crazy. He should not. Dom should apologize, and Dre Greenlaw should be like, I don't even know who you are anymore, dude. And I'm not even going to sniff this until the postseason. Bogish, thank you so much. Coming up, do you know we got the one hottest toy on the market now for the holidays? Ridiculous. Never saw this coming. We got that. We got sports, dude. Don't worry. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. This is one you don't hear every day. A Jaguars employee, former employee, was stealing money from the organization, Perloff.
What,
and not
a little money? What? We're talking
Yes.
1,000 here, 1,000 there?
No, this was not like expensing a happy hour or something. He was stealing to the tune of $22 million from the Jags.
Amazing.
How did they miss that money? I know it's $1 billion company, I'm sure, and all that, but how does $22 million go like just poof, vanish?
Also, who has the guts to steal $22 million? If he had stopped at $10 million, would he not be going to jail for the rest of his life?
I think, well, unfortunately, it's probably like some kind of compulsion. He was stealing money to spend on watches.
Yeah, $95,000 watch.
Condominium.
Yep.
2 cars.
Yep.
And just like, what?
Online gambling, too.
Online gambling.
Well, that's a good time. I mean, listen.
You probably thought he'd make it all back.
His name is Amit Patel, who's alleged to do this. And this is insane to me because $22 million is way too much. as an aspiring criminal, you gotta tone it down. You can't get 100 on the test, buddy.
I think isn't grand larceny like $5,000? I mean, and it's this dude really went for it. Let's get to our shot of the day.
He shoots!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. Today's shot of the day comes from our guest, Ross Tucker. We asked him if Mike McCarthy having surgery to remove his appendix will influence and impact the Cowboys as they prep for the Eagles.
It's especially important in Dallas now because he's the play caller too, right? Like it was different when he was just sort of the game manager and Kellen Moore was calling the plays. I would say it's a big deal either way, right? Like even if he wasn't the play caller, which he is, and he's doing an outstanding job, you know, you still want to have that guy that's in charge of managing all of the timeout and whether or not you go for it, all of those situations, challenge flag, all that stuff during a game. And they can give those duties to Fossil, the special teams coordinator, or Brian Shaw. Like they can give it to somebody else, but whoever they would give it to doesn't have nearly the experience in those same situations that McCarthy does.
I mean, translation, it could get worse. If McCarthy's not there, the game manager can somehow get worse. It seems impossible, but I guess it's true.
Oh, okay. I mean, he's not great. He's not the worst ever, but I agree with you. I think anybody could do the same job that he does. I don't want to hear a Cowboys excuse. I do want to hear Eagles excuses, and I got a million of them.
I was going to say,
at the ready.
It's half the show is Eagles excuses. No, it's I think it's a big deal. It's a huge game. Yeah. Whether you want to say so or not, it is a huge game, and it's a big game for Dallas.
One thing I will guarantee, The winning quarterback comes out at number 1 on the MVP odds, which Ross rightfully pointed out. There's a new favorite every time. Now I think it's either Brock Purdy or Dak, and Brock tied at 1. Jalen Hurts wins this game. He shoots to number 1. Do you admit that?
I would 100% agree.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the rightful winner of the award is probably Tyreek Hill or Christian McCaffrey or something. Meanwhile, thank you to EJ Stewart. Thank you to Pete Bellotti and Carlos Ortiz, who both in today. Thank you to Andrew Bogish, of course, Andrew Kaplan, Guido's Coffee Drinkers. Again, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. You subscribe to either of those channels. For every new subscriber, we donate $1 to charity. The goal is $1,000. Go there, hit subscribe, and we donate to the Boys and Girls Club. See you tomorrow.